Make more. Teach. Visit teach.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
With our eye on the stock tickers, this is the Wake Up Call Business Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. The latest look at durable goods orders shows a decline of 1.2% in September. That headline number from the Commerce Department is a little less than what analysts were estimating beforehand. U.S. stock index futures are little changed to lower before the Federal Reserve begins a two-day monetary policy meeting. Meanwhile, investors are scrutinizing the latest earnings. Drug makers Pfizer and Bristol-Myers Squibb are up 2% or more after posting quarterly profit that topped projections. But Ford is slipping after earnings missed forecasts. Apple and Twitter report later today. As the Fed starts that meeting today, traders are pricing in only a 6% chance of an interest rate increase this time around. March is the first month for which traders are pricing in at least even odds of a boost. Among the companies moving on corporate news, Marvell Technology down 17%. Last month, the chip maker disclosed an internal investigation into its accounting and yesterday said that PricewaterhouseCoopers resigned as its external accounting firm. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
This is your wake-up call.
It's like no cheese I've ever tasted.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
628. Good morning to you. Your way into us, 541-485-KPNW or 888-KPNW 888. KPNW works out to be 5769, or you can email 1120kpnw@gmail.com. Comment on anything under the sun or even above it. Anything that you hear us talk about or something that we should be talking about. I'm looking at the photos of Michael Conforto, who, if you missed it, he's got the distinction of only being the third player ever to play in the Little League, the College World Series, of course, with the Beavers. And now, potentially tonight, in the MLB, the show. And the article that you sent me, you got a photo of him as he's a little leaguer out of Richmond. I love the fact that he's out of the Pacific Northwest. He's out of Richmond, Washington. And you look at him and you think, okay, maybe he was he doesn't look like the stud that he is now. You think, okay, maybe he was, pretty good hitter and great in the field. No. He was, he finished the tournament tied for fifth in batting average, going 6 for 10, and it had a home run in a key game. He was a stud back then, too. And if you were following, his career, why wouldn't you draft him, get him on your squad? As a guy who's been a winner everywhere he goes. Awesome. Now he's playing for the Mets. And we'll talk with the Bleacher Report's Scott Miller. Kind of, if you're not maybe a huge baseball fan, or you kind of just been kind of or maybe you just kind of turn it on when it's a big game like the World Series. We'll see if we can get kind of some background. Get some fill-in for a couple of teams that I don't know there's a lot of people that picked these two teams. Maybe Kansas City, with the fact that they were in the series last year. I don't know that there's many people out there that had these two teams lined up. So we'll talk with Scott.
So if they win
the
World Series, the Mets. So if they win, and Conforto is like this big hero, I wonder how much that Little League card, because did you notice the email I sent you? It had a picture of his little email, his little
that's what I said. Yeah, I was talking about that. How he doesn't look, in the little photo, he looks like a little leaguer.
I'm just curious what a copy of that would go for. I mean, if there were. I don't know. I look at that and I go, God, I bet that thing would be worth a freaking fortune.
He made his big league debut on July 24th. The first rookie and youngest player to achieve the accomplishment of playing in all three World Series. The other two if you're a Red Sox fan, you know one of them, Jason Varitek, and Ed Vosberg was the other. I mean, what are the chances? Only 3. Michael Conforto, one of them. Did you ever have a chance to meet him? I know you kind of gallivanted around.
I would have liked to, but no, never had a chance to meet the young man.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that even as a Ducks fan, you would sit there and just kind of monitor to see what he did, because probably consisted of maybe a home run or a couple. And I know the other Pac 12 teams were glad to see him kind of exit to the pros when he left. But kind of a sad day, because you kind of wanted him to go out, you know, something dramatic, something in Omaha, which, and I'll just throw this out there, even OSU fans don't near appreciate the fact that they not won one, but they won 2 national championships. I think you have to spend even a week in the South and, you know, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida to really get in it, because they take baseball down there, you know, maybe not as serious as football, but...
Are you saying that it's an important thing down in the South, that it's a big deal?
Yeah.
We're both grabbing her. What's the chances both of us grabbing her?
Jinx.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's a big deal in your life these days? What's the big deal in Bill London's day this Tuesday, aside from it being Lucky Number Tuesday? You're going to go win an oven mitt.
No, I've won better than that. Last thing I won was like a $70 yard chair.
That lit him up.
It did. It was awesome. Okay, so big things in my life today are fixing Microsoft Outlook 2010.
Oh.
Because it's a piece of garbage. And yesterday, here's what happened.
Can we fix it? Is that something possible?
Here's what happened yesterday. So I get this email from, this is totally behind the scenes. So I get an email from the state. And the state's saying, it's from the Public Utilities Commission, and they're saying we're, wanting contact information in case the world comes to an end, and we'd like to have your contact information so that you could help us disseminate end of the world information. They didn't say it exactly like that, but if you read between the lines. So, they've got one of those little things. What's your name? What's your occupation? Who do you work for? What's your address? So I figured I would just do a cut and paste of my signature, because my signature has my name, my phone number, the address here, fax number, all that information. And all I did was do an insert, and Outlook just went and crashed. And I don't mean just went going gunny bags for a second. I mean, it totally just locked up everything.
So you did it?
Yeah, by going so far as
copying and pasting.
As copying, pasting.
What are you thinking?
Email. I know. I mean, it is Outlook. Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to be able to do that in Outlook, but I thought, well, I'm going to be a rebel and give it a try. Anyway, so that's going to be part of today's adventure. And then trying to figure out our live stream. And I don't mean our just normal audio stream. I'm talking about our video stream.
Hmm?
And I don't know why it is. We've tried a couple of different streaming services. Right now I'm looking at YouTube. And we've got actually the cameras that we have, while small, are actually fairly high-def cameras. And so I can't figure out why it is, and I've been working with our IT guy to actually turn it into something that doesn't look like mud.
Why is my camera so close, and yours is on the other side of the room?
Yours is just closer simply because you're closer to that wall. Mine is on the same wall as yours is. I just happen to be
I'm closer to the wall, considerably.
Well, okay, so what are they supposed to do? Like put a post in the middle of the room?
No, why didn't they put... the camera over there?
Well, because then you're looking at the back of the guest's head. The idea was, with it there, you can actually see a profile view
Instead
of the
of
guest.
see my
As opposed to seeing the back of the guest's head.
But you're not going to
like it was.
You're not going to see the profile, though.
Yeah, well, actually, yesterday you did. I was sitting over here watching when Sue Ann, the Secret Service agent, was in here.
Right.
She looked fine on there. It's a heck of a lot better than the security cam the KEZI had in here.
Oof. Throw them under the bus.
Well, yeah. Why not? I mean, it was a nice, clean-looking shot, but it was a security cam shot. I kept expecting you would watch the thing on TV, and you kept expecting to see somebody run in and try to take money from us. Like we were some sort of 7-Eleven.
All right, we got a break. We got to take a break and talk healthcare on the other side. Stand by, it's 11:20 KPNW.
Brad's Cottage Grove Chevy GMC. Low prices and award-winning service.
What does better mean to you? Better is coffee with a view. Better is a berry from the vine. Better is the journey. At Providence, we know there are many paths to better health. No matter how you define it, Providence Medicare Advantage plans can help you achieve your better. With Providence, you get a no-cost gym membership with all of our plans and access to thousands of providers in and out of Providence facilities. Talk to us about which plan is best for you. Call 1-866-948-5147. That's 1-866-948-5147. We're here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Providence Medicare Advantage plans. Better you, better world. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits may change on January 1st of each year. The provider network may change at any time. You will receive notice when necessary.
When you clean out your garage or storage shed, there's a good chance you'll find some hazardous products to dispose of. Paint, pesticides, solvents and fuels are items you may want to get rid of. They need special handling and disposal. Fortunately, Lane County residents have access to convenient and free hazardous waste disposal services. To make an appointment for disposal or to get more information, just call 682-4120. This message is sponsored by Lane County Public Works in association with Eugene area radio stations. Ears.
People are going crazy for FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues. Listen up.
FanDuel, easily by far, is the best fantasy website on the planet.
With FanDuel, you have a new chance to win every week. FanDuel is paying out $75 million a week this football season. Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com, click the microphone, and enter the promo code 6161. That's FanDuel.com, promo code 6161.
I'm terrible with money. Apparently, a PhD in physics won't help me predict the trajectory of my own retirement. So I work with TIAA CREF. You get quality, personalized advice no matter what your balance is. For me, they make investing as easy as Newtonian physics.
Advice for everyone. One more way TIAA CREF is created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA CREF Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an act of portrayal. Advice is subject to institutional plan rules. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
The Wake Up Call.
To be honest, I've never seen such dysfunction.
With Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Heavy fog out there in some areas this morning, and then other areas it's beautiful and clear. Just be careful as you are driving. Take some extra care out there. All right, well, guess what? It's time for open enrollment. Yes, I know. You were saying to yourself, gosh, it was so much fun the last time that I got to enroll in healthcare. And, well, guess what? There are a lot of mistakes that people make. Between not doing the research, figuring out the paperwork, scrambling to get some last-minute questions answered, it can cause problems. To talk about it this morning and ways that maybe you can help yourself out, it is health insurance expert and benefit resource who runs the Benefit Resource Group, Danny O'Connell, joining us on the Wake Up Call. Danny, thanks for being with us this morning. Is it true that 40% or thereabouts, I see one survey at least says this, that 40% of employees don't understand the benefit options that their employer offers them?
Good morning. And realistically, I would say that that's probably low.
Oh,
I would think that it's actually higher than that.
Really? What? Based on what? Just your...
Based on the employers and the groups that we see, we try really hard to educate employees, to get out in front of them, work through, employee packets, handouts, educational seminars, web enrollments. And first of all, it's, okay, how many people are we actually reaching and conveying? Then, are they really understanding? Are they paying attention? And not to knock the individuals, but this is very confusing, and it changes every year. You can't just go in the mindset of, I'm just going to renew with what I had the previous year, because plans do change, networks do change, prescription pharmacy changes. So even if you are on top of this and the best person at looking at this, there are still little changes within the fine print that can be really hard to track.
All right. Well, in some ways, isn't it up to the folks that deal with, say, HR issues to at least be able, since they're the ones that a lot of times deal with these plans, the ones to at least send you an email saying, all right, if you're going to stay with the health plan, these are the changes from last year, or this year's plan, there are no changes. I mean, isn't it kind of their job at times to let you know, here's what the major changes are?
There is, and they're stretched so thin. So to really help with that, a lot of employers will use enrollment firms, different methods of enrolling. I would say don't wait until the last minute, or, a day past the last minute to get on this, because they're people too, and they're trying to answer all these questions and do the best that they can. Different agents and agencies will be more involved than others. But definitely don't wait until the last minute to start doing your research or to get your paperwork done or make that decision.
Why is it, I guess, when you consider how important something like healthcare is, I know that when I get the email every year about re-enrollment, I mean, it becomes like a top priority, because besides just me, I have a kid, I have a wife, and it's one of those, to me, I mean, I consider that to be pretty darn important. So I find it weird that people don't prioritize it, considering how important it is.
You're one of those few, and there's certainly a percentage of people that they get right on it, and we love those people working with employers that, the people that'll get in and complete it and ask the questions and get it done early. And then, like you said, it's like pulling teeth. A lot of people just don't want to address it and deal with it. It's confusing. It's convoluted. There's paperwork involved. It's not fun, per se. And, you've got people that kind of along the way will do it, and then a big flood at the end of people that will try to get that done and get it in. And a lot of times they're not getting the answers that they need, or they may not even know the questions that they need to be asking. So I'd say engage early and often with the people in your company, or if you're doing it individually, with an agent who's in your community who can shop and look at different answers and different plans for you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you point out one of the big things, and maybe one of the main reasons that people try to avoid it, and that is because it can get really confusing. What are some basic questions then that someone who is looking at either re-enrollment or some type of new enrollment, what are the kind of questions that they need to be asking to make the process simpler for themselves?
Sure. So number one is the network changing, and checking with your doctor what networks are you contracted with. The second thing is, if you are taking regular name brand prescription drugs, check the formulary list for each of the plans to see how that is handled and how that is covered. Understand that you are going to have out-of-pocket expenses, that not everything is going to be covered at 100% just because you have insurance. And then additionally, your employer may offer more than one plan. They may offer a high deductible plan that allows you to enroll in a health savings account versus a lower deductible plan or plan with copays. So it's understanding, if I go in that higher deductible plan, I should typically pay less to the insurance company, but know that you're going to pay more when you actually go in for services up to whatever that cap is. So those plans, they may not be right for the individual who has specific health issues, that's seeing a specialist, taking a lot of name brand drugs.
Okay. Other questions that maybe not quite as important, but also still pretty germane?
Yeah, it's understanding that you have a deductible typically, and then additionally you may have some other cost sharing, and that's done on a percentage basis. So even if you have a $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 deductible, you may still have some exposure after that, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50% up to another dollar limit, up to another cap. So most of your plans are going to cap you at $6,000 in out-of-pocket expenses or less. You know, they could go up to $6,350 or so. So it's just understanding what my total exposure is for the year, and that just because I have a deductible, there still could be additional cost sharing.
Yeah, I think with our plan, they call it co-insurance.
There you go.
Yeah, always nice, which is sort of like another deductible. They just don't call it that. Go ahead.
Right, I was going to say that's one area that you can look to get value out of your plan is adjusting that co-insurance level, because most Americans don't hit their deductible in any given year. So if you don't hit the deductible, you're never going to drop into that co-insurance category. But even if you do hit it, it's really more concerned about what's my total out-of-pocket. You know, on a normal $15,000 to $25,000 event, you can expect that you're going to probably max out your plan. So just understand that when you're enrolling in a health plan.
All right, so we've gone from the questions that I think that you believe that most folks need to ask about their insurance plans. I'm just curious, what is, when you sit and have somebody across the desk from you, generally, what is the most common question that they ask?
Why is my plan going up?
Okay. Yeah. All right. And that's a fair question. And so how do you respond?
Well, it really depends on the group or the individual, how they're enrolled, how they're purchasing their insurance. You know, the fully insured plans now really look at how the pool in your state or region runs more so than specifically your individual group. On the older plans, they did take more into account about your specific company. You still had some pooling there, but there was a larger emphasis on your group. And that's why you see so many employers have stayed in these transitional plans or these grandfathered plans, because the new ACA community rated plans do have a different rating factor that tends to have an increase on the majority of the employer groups.
How much of an increase?
It can be anywhere from 10 to 200%, depending on the makeup of your group and the plans. And there's a big misnomer that, well, you know, the employer must have just had a bare bones plan and they're having to buy better insurance now, and that's why it's going up. And that's not necessarily the case. We've seen groups with $500 deductibles who are looking at a 200% increase if they moved to the newer series plans because of how they're rated.
Wow. Danny, I appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, you take care. Danny O'Connell, he is a health insurance expert, runs the Benefit Resource Group on the Wake Up Call this morning, and talking about, it's always great, first thing in the morning, to start chatting about health insurance. I mean, isn't it just kind of one of those, oh, my favorite topic in the world, health insurance, of course. It's important, but not necessarily the fun topic.
Well, and he made the point, I think people do that in the afternoon when they're kind of going through their mail.
Yeah. Oh, health insurance.
And you bring up a good point. It's kind of something that you should kind of make yourself, maybe give yourself an ice cream at the end of the day when you're done, but you probably should, you know, especially if you kind of have kids and a family.
That for me was always the big motivator, is the wife and child.
And I think, you know, on top of getting it done and just checking it off the to-do list, understanding what is going on and what you are kind of agreeing to and what, you know, your coverage, because I think that's important too. How many people, you know, just kind of ship it back and, yeah, I'm covered, but where exactly? You know, you need to kind of, you know, you need to understand it. I'm putting myself in that boat too.
Yeah, it gets fun. The other thing, well, I don't know. This is just maybe just a gripe with. I don't think, and I didn't have a chance, and I didn't think of it at the time to ask Danny this, whether insurance companies purposely made things or make things as convoluted as they can in the way that they lay out what your benefits are, so that it makes it harder to understand, so that actually you're not maybe utilizing all of the things that you're paying for. Now, that's Bill's conspiracy theory, but I could be completely wrong on that. So, completely changing the subject, I like this. Michael writes, Million Bacon Lovers March. Yeah, I'm down with that. We need to get bacon lovers and ham lovers together, and we need to do a march on Washington. Keep your hands off my bacon. This in the aftermath of the World Health Organization's, I think, completely bogus report yesterday. Okay, so this is one of the things that they rest this so-called scientific study on. All right, they say, look, Africa, the entire continent of Africa, has one of the lowest incident rates of colon cancer in the entire world. And they eat less red meat and less processed meat than any other place on the planet. Okay, let's buy that for a second. Now, ask yourself this question. So, what is the average age of someone who ends up with colon cancer? According to the World Cancer Research Foundation, how do I know this? Because I looked it up. The average age is 72 years old. Do you know what the average age or the average life expectancy is on the entire continent of Africa? Okay, when you consider that on the low end, it's, because Africa is made up of a whole bunch of different countries, that on the low end, the life expectancy is 45 years of age. On the very highest end, it's only 74. If the median average age of a person who has colon cancer or who comes down with it or is first diagnosed with it is 72 years old, why would you suspect it is that in Africa, with an average life expectancy of 58 years of age, that they would have such a low incidence rate? Is it because they don't live very long? Then let's take a look at, for instance, the two top red meat eating places on the planet, Argentina and Hong Kong. They eat more red meat than any other place on the planet. Now, if you go, again, to the World Cancer Research Foundation and ask the simple question, what are the top 20 countries for colon cancer? Gee, do you think that Argentina or Hong Kong are mentioned anywhere on that top 20 list? No. Now, they would argue, okay, but Israel is on the list. As far as top 8, they are number 8 on the list of countries that where the incidence of colon cancer is prevalent. Number 8. So they're way up there. And we know how the Israelis love their bacon and ham. Actually, if you go and take a look at the type of meat that they're most likely to eat, even though they do consume red meat in Israel, the most typical kind of meat that they eat, chicken. One of the highest consumers of chicken on the planet. You start looking at that study, and it was barely glancing at the thing. And I'm sitting there going, okay, and by the way, the World Cancer Research Foundation, incidentally, is, well, part of WHO. You start taking a look at the stuff, and their own data contradicts the stuff in this report. And that was just a cursory glance at some of their numbers yesterday. So, yeah, I'm all for the Million Man Bacon March. Go for it. Hold forth your bacon and ham high.
All right, we got a break coming up on 7 o'clock, 11:20 KPNW.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings ends soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. Save right now with 0% financing on 13 new dependable Toyota models, like the techno-rich Corolla, adventurous RAV4, and best-selling Camry. Then save for 2 years with Toyota Care no-cost scheduled service and roadside assistance. And keep saving down the road with Toyota's leading gas mileage and legendary resale value. With 0% financing on 13 new Toyota models, where will you go?
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
With 0% financing and 2 years of no-cost service, the savings don't end soon. At your Northwest Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. APR financing through Toyota Financial Services with approved credit. Must take retail delivery from dealer stock by 11/2/15. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental U.S. and Alaska.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 9955 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 9955.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. The debate is on. Is the recent stock market volatility just a normal correction in a bull market? Or is it something worse, the beginning of a bear market? The difference is not trivial. The standard definition of a correction is a decline from the top of at least 10%, and pretty much all the popular market averages have dipped below that threshold. A bear market is defined as a sell-off of 20% or more. The Chinese stock market clearly qualifies, down 44% so far, as do several other emerging markets and some domestic sectors. For example, 2 popular biotech indexes, the NASDAQ and the Standard & Poor's, were off more than 25% before last week's bounce. Here's the nugget. No one actually wins from corrections except traders, which these days mostly means computers. If we're in a normal correction, long-term investors should stay the course. But if this is a bear market, you should get out. Because as someone once said, in a bear market, bulls lose money, bears lose money, everyone loses money. The purpose of a bear market is to destroy capital. The problem with corrections, says Jared Dillon, is that long-term investors get sucked into the turmoil of the media market spin cycle and puke up their well-researched, treasured positions at the worst possible time. So what to do? More soon. I'm Gary
Fox
Conley.
News,
That's
fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
We are not cooperating with Russia.
And the U.S. Defense Secretary also just testified on Capitol Hill. Russian airstrikes in Syria will not dictate the pace of the U.S. battle against ISIS. Fox News Radio's John Decker live in Washington.
Defense Secretary Ash Carter told members of the Senate Armed Services Committee that the U.S. is expanding its military strategy against ISIS, including increasing involvement of U.S. forces on the ground, like the raid in northern Iraq last week.
Where we have actionable intelligence and a capable partner force, we want to support our partners, and we will.
U.S. troops currently advise Iraqis at headquarters, not on the front lines, but the Pentagon is considering embedding U.S. troops with Iraqi security forces, allowing them to call in airstrikes on ISIS fighters. Dave?
John, despite China's anger over an American warship getting close to man-made islands in disputed territory, the U.S. says it will be increasing its patrols in the South China Sea. House Republicans have worked out a 2-year budget deal with the White House. It would suspend the debt limit, letting the U.S. borrow more, and increase spending by by $80 billion. Some conservatives, though, don't like it.
They will probably have to pass it, at least in the House, with a minority of Republicans and lots of Democrats. But that's kind of how things have gone during John Boehner's speakership.
Fox's Chad Pergram. Boehner's just about done. The election to replace him, likely with Paul Ryan, is Thursday. Is Donald Trump watching his lead slip away? There's a new national leader. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers details the poll live.
A new CBS New York Times poll puts Ben Carson ahead of Trump with a 4-point edge, 26 to 22%. Support for Carson has quadrupled since August, and the rest of the GOP candidates are in single digits. But this poll is not the only one showing gains by Carson. A recent Monmouth University poll among likely Republican voters in Iowa shows him leading Trump by 14 points. The next GOP debate is tomorrow night, Dave.
Tanya, a police officer in South Carolina who shot and killed a 19-year-old during a drug sting in July will not face charges. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Hi, I'm Matt Stone from Pressure Point Roofing. The roofing business has changed the past few years, especially with materials. With our GAF Master Elite status, the asphalt shingles Pressure Point Roofing install can have a lifetime, non-prorated warranty. It's amazing to think that you may now have to buy one roof in your lifetime, and the warranty is transferable. Plus, asphalt shingles are made to look like tile, slate, and shakes in a huge selection of colors. Considering a new roof? For peace of mind, start at the top. Pressure Point Roofing.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Stocks are falling modestly on Wall Street. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average right now down about 21 points at 17,601. The Nasdaq Composite pulling back just fractionally, and the S&P 500 down 4. Ford profit did more than double, actually did very well in the United States, but saw weakness in emerging markets. That stock is down about 4.5%. Coach saw same-store sales in North America slip the least in 2 years and has a turnaround plan, and with that stock is soaring about 6.5%. Grubhub down 28% after its quarterly report. Twitter and Apple will report after the bell, so stand by for those. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. There's an update on the housing market. Prices rose from July to August in 18 of the 20 big cities tracked by S&P. Year over year, prices are up an average 5%, the biggest gains in San Francisco and Denver, rising nearly 11%. Oil is cheaper today, down about $1, back under $43 a barrel. Gas is about the same, though. AAA's average for regular remains around $2.20 a gallon. E-cigarette smokers who travel need to be careful when they pack.
They can't smoke them on board, that's a given. But a new federal regulation also prohibits airline passengers from packing e-cigarettes or other battery-operated smoking devices in their checked baggage. They can bring them in their carry-on bags, but they're not allowed to recharge the devices on the plane. It's to protect against in-flight fires. Since 2009, there have been at least 26 explosions or fires blamed on e-cigarettes and checked luggage. Jay Nutzler, Fox News Radio.
Week 7's over in the NFL, ending with last-second drama.
Flacco back, pressure on to the middle again for Gilmore, and it is secured and intercepted.
Picked off in the end zone by the Cardinals, sealing a 26-18 win of the Ravens on ESPN. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
I wonder how many people thought Carson Palmer was washed up. Just looks, I mean, he runs out to the field completely different. Confidence. All right, 7:05, News Radio 1120 KPNW. I'll just tell you this. The weather, according to Chris Nation, today, well, clouds and 60, but moving in tonight is a 40% chance of rain, going to a 90% tomorrow. Currently 42 degrees at 1120 KPNW.
Eugene Police, by the way, we're finding out if you are out there in Compton, 2300 block, and you're saying to yourself, there appears to be plenty of police officers that have surrounded this neighborhood. Something big must be going on. You would be correct on that. Call came in earlier this morning of a burglary in progress, 2300 block of Compton. And what they're saying now is that the EPD Violent Crimes Unit and Forensic Evidence Unit are on scene. That has kind of an ominous sound to it, does it not? They do say there is no known ongoing threat to the community. So just keep that in mind. So if you've been wondering, wonder what's going on over there, that's what's going on over there. So just know it and avoid it, because I imagine probably there's going to be some traffic issues there, wherever 2600 Compton is.
Compton is.
Yeah. Eugene's own Compton.
Didn't even know we had a Compton.
I know. See, we learned something this morning.
Is something straight out of there?
It could be.
I don't know. All right, we got some tickets to give out for Riverdance. We got Riverdance and Burger, Northwest Burger action next hour. This is going to be some cool tickets for the October 28th Wednesday go-round at the Holt Center. If you heard the conversation yesterday, thought I had the book somewhere. There it is. I was giving it back to you. Behind the Shades, we had Sue Ann Baker, who is one of the first Secret Service agents in history.
Female Secret Service agents.
What did I say?
You said one of the first 5 secret service, which would have made her about 160 years old.
Yeah, one of the first female.
I was going to say, if that's the case, she aged well.
That's a big qualifier right there.
Yeah, right.
Anything that, anything know the show-wise that you discern from the chat?
Know the show from yesterday.
She talked about some of the first people that she monitored and was a protector of.
Well, I think we could just ask the question: can you name one of her other occupations, or where she worked before she was with the Secret Service? Because she mentioned that.
Okay, I was going to go something a little exotic, but let's go with that. All right, another occupation for Sue Ann Baker. We'll know the show. KPNW, who are you first?
This is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
What you got for us?
Well, I know she was a police officer beforehand.
We'll take it.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Debbie, you want to go check out Riverdance?
I sure do.
At the 20th anniversary, opening up there at the Silver Concert Hall, and we got, over here, we got some good seats for you in the mezzanine. No, sorry, the balcony. Okay.
Ooh, cool.
Woo-hoo. I'm so excited.
I don't know that you've, have you been a part of the winner's circle here with the Wake Up Call ever?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Gene and Debbie, we were at the Merchandise thing.
Oh, very cool.
We just went for our hot air balloon ride about a month ago, the one that we won at the auction last year. So.
Awesome. Did you like the hot air balloon ride?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. I would recommend everybody to try it at least once in their lifetime.
As hot air balloon rides go, you would think you would hope it to be awesome. Hey, hang on one sec, Debbie. We need some information from you.
Okay.
All right, don't go anywhere. That's Debbie, our big winner for Riverdance, and we got more where that came from. The show is tomorrow, so we got to give out our tickets today and maybe a pair tomorrow. Stand by. News is coming up at 7. Wait for it. 7:10.
Burrito Amigos and game day. You can't beat them. Having a game night in while the team is on the road? Well, invite all your amigos over and let Burrito Amigos supply the eats. Call in an order, pick it up, and it's party on. On the hot side, I suggest Fire Bites. They're deep-fried jalapeno slices, or treat your guests to cheese-filled jalapenos, pepitas. Or go deep with tacos, taquitos, and nachos. And Burrito Amigos taco salads are so big, everyone can dig in. Now, on the side, you can supply the chips while Burrito Amigos supplies the fresh beans, rice, and salsa to dip those chips in. If you want to plan ahead, stop by the night before and get some fresh, cold tamales by the dozen and nuke them at home the day of the game. Here's your Burrito Amigos helpful hint. When you go the tamale route, take home some mole or the thick, cheesy, spicy poblano soup to use as sauce over the tamales. Better yet, use both. And, of course, all of this is great for tailgate parties. You might even go the burrito route. Burrito Amigos all over Eugene and Springfield as Burrito Amigos' biggest
Vegas fan, I can tell you there are some weekends where you may even like Burrito Amigos better than the game.
October at Three Rivers Casino Resort. All the leaves are brown and the cash is green. Simply swipe your Players Club card for a chance at $100,000 and daily prizes of up to $500 in free play. Or instantly win a 50-inch Vizio Smart TV. Swipe, play, win. Because things are luckier here. And that's not all. Music fans, get out your sequin gloves because October 30th through November 1st, Three Rivers Casino Resort proudly presents Moonwalker, the reflection of Michael, the internationally acclaimed tribute to the King of Pop. With meticulous authenticity, this show brings back the magic of all his greatest hits, the dazzling costumes, the live music, the legend of Michael Jackson returns in the concert event of the year, and all ages are welcome. This fall, we have it all at Three Rivers Casino Resort. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details.
Local news, local people. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, last week, the Eugene City Council voted to put off until January 19th a public hearing on the South Willamette Special Area Zone, also known in some cases as SPAZ. Yesterday, the City Council pushed out that meeting until mid-March. The Special Area Zone was an integral part of the nearly endless Envision Eugene process. Mayor Piercy, City Manager John Reese, and city planners, along with a pair of City Council members, hope to dramatically change the land laws in Eugene to be able to shoehorn high-density apartments in local area neighborhoods, the domain of single-family homes. Neighborhood groups were aghast and fuming. Well, last week, Councilor Mike Clark made a series of motions to essentially gut the South Willamette SPAZ, preventing the kind of zoning changes and proposed changes that would have potentially decreased property values all over the city. Now, his proposed series of changes protected single-dwelling zones throughout the city. A majority of City Council members voted in favor of Clark's proposal. The City Planning Committee says it needs time and extra time to change planning rules to adopt Clark's resolutions, and so they're asking to push the public hearing out until sometime next March. A 23-year-old man was stabbed outside the Fred Meyer store on Division in Eugene. His cell phone was taken. The crime happened Sunday morning around 6 a.m. when the Eugene police were sent to the garden entrance of the store. The victim had only minor wounds. Police arrested 19-year-old Daniel Hill a short time later at a nearby Sherry's restaurant based on the victim's description. All right, so chances are on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, you may plan on going out and doing a little bit of early shopping to get in on those bargains. That's also a crucial day for retailers looking to get a jump on holiday shopping. If you were planning on heading to the REI in Eugene, change your plans. The CEO of REI says for the day, they're actually just going to put business, if you will, aside. They've made a definite change.
We believe a life lived outside is a life well lived. We'd rather be in the mountains than in the aisles.
That's right. They're saying no Black Friday at REI. And many REI customers agree.
Life is not just about making money, you know. It's about enjoying life and getting outdoors.
Thankfully, we live in an area where so many people do enjoy the outdoors. So I think that REI's national message will be heard well here.
Black Friday is one of the company's top 10 sales days of the year. They're promoting the hashtag #OptOutside, where customers can say how they use their day off to go out and enjoy the outdoors. And if it's in Oregon, they'll likely say in the rain. Eugene police are investigating a case involving a dead dog after a woman claimed her pet died in a car after she was arrested and remained in jail for more than 2 weeks. The woman took to social media and the internet to share her side of the story. She's claiming the EPD neglected the dog following the arrest and it led to its death. The police are saying that the matter itself is under investigation. In an online post, the owner of Magic identifies herself as Tamla Bemis. And she writes that on the morning of October 5th, she was arrested while riding her bike to a donut shop. Now, Magic was left in a car, which Bemis says in her post is her home, where the two, she and the dog, lived. Bemis was stopped because she matched the description of a burglary suspect in that area. EPD says Bemis had warrants out for her arrest for possession of meth and delivery of drugs. Bemis claims she was in jail for 17 days, and when she was let out, she went back to her car to find Magic dead and rotted inside. EPD says at the time of the arrest, Bemis had told them she had a car parked near Jay and Marshall with a dog. However, EPD says they couldn't locate the car in that area. EPD says they are still investigating the case, and they hope to get the facts straightened out. The car was also not registered to Bemis. By the way, police did say that she was not involved in any burglary. An Oregon man with a lengthy rap sheet facing charges of stealing equipment from the BLM to settle a debt. Now, we told you about this story yesterday. We're learning more about it today. Court documents say 45-year-old Larry Larson of Springfield actually gave the stolen tractor from the BLM maintenance yard to a Josephine County resident to pay off a debt, along with some meth. Larson was released from prison in early 2014. Authorities say he stole a Ford pickup from an Albany auto dealership and then used it as sort of a gigantic key to drive it through a fence at the BLM property in April. The charging documents say Larson conspired with 4 other people to carry out the theft. He's the only one in jail because he was indicted on a federal grand jury charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. The number of bottle redemption centers continues to grow here in Oregon. Brad Ford reports that a new bottle drop, a third one, is opening today in Salem.
Bottle drop centers are planned in larger cities across Oregon. Retailers in a certain area stop accepting bottles. So to get your bottle return money, you go to a redemption center where you can run the bottles through a machine or set up an account and just leave the bottles.
We count the containers for them and the money goes onto their account.
Sherilyn Burgess with the Oregon Beverage Recycling Cooperative says the centers have new machines with better technology that reduce the frustration of the old machines that frequently jam.
We're just taking container returns and making it so much more convenient.
In 2013, the legislature approved the rollout of the redemption centers. There are currently 14, and they plan to open 4 a year over the next 8 years. Brad Ford, KPNW.
So Portland's mayor, Charlie Hale, says he's not running for re-election. He says because achieving his goals before his term runs out won't allow him the time to run a campaign.
We're having a gang violence wave. I'm the police commissioner. I could really work with the whole community to try to turn that tide, or I could run for office. We have a housing crisis, and we're in danger of becoming San Francisco. I could focus on affordable housing and homelessness, or I could run for office.
Or it could be that Hale's main opponent, Ted Wheeler, was actually endorsed by 3 previous mayors of the city. Wheeler issued a statement saying he respects Hale's decision and that Hale's had to do what was right for himself and his family. So if you took all the poor people in Oregon and you put them in one place, it would top the population of Portland.
In 2014, about 644,000 Oregonians lived in poverty. If poverty was a city in Oregon, it would be the state's largest city.
The Oregon Center for Public Policy analyst Taylor McGinnis says that the newly released census figures show that poverty in Oregon is now worse than it was during the Great Recession, and that 21% of Oregon kids live in poverty. So a Hillsborough man's kind of upset about the way the TSA searched his 90-year-old mother at the Portland International Airport. Ellen Charney says they had to put her coat through the scanner. And then after she went through the body scanner, they asked her to go into a private room.
They wanted her to take all of her clothes off from her waist up.
She complied, even removing her bra. She had sewn a tiny pocket in the bra for money to be used in an emergency. The body scanners are sensitive and alert on paper, but they can't tell the screeners what they find. The TSA says it's uncommon to ask someone to remove their clothing, although we hear stories of this all the time, and they say they're continuing to investigate. Well, the nation has a mental health care crisis. Oregon Congressman Greg Walden says even though we spend $130 billion a year, 40% of Americans with mental illness don't receive treatment, and he's co-sponsoring the Helping Families in Mental Crisis Act.
Now, this is bipartisan legislation that would reform the nation's federal mental health programs and direct resources to those most in need in a more timely basis.
Walden says it would allow families to work more closely with mental health care professionals, increase the number of psychiatric beds, and increase telepsychiatry, which helps in rural areas where patients otherwise would have to drive long distances to get the help they need. Walden says the mentally ill are 15 times less likely to commit violent acts when they're getting help with their illness. Well, Lynn County deputies responded to Riverside Drive, a little southwest of Albany, early yesterday morning to the report of a car crash. Make that a car crash that involved a house.
Operator identified as 27-year-old Benjamin Michael Williams from Albany. Told deputies on his way home he slid off the road due to a recent rain. Albany fire paramedics treated Williams for minor injuries at the scene.
Kevin Guilford with the Lynn County Sheriff's Office says that investigators believe that excessive speed and wet conditions contributed to the crash. Deputies were assisted by the Albany Fire Department. So, like many communities, Benton County and the Board of Commissioners are going to be talking about marijuana today. They'll be meeting with community development directors in a work session to talk about development code amendments regarding commercial growing, processing, and selling weed.
We have a pretty good grasp on where we're going to allow it in the county for those operations. For example, like farm and forest land would be, at least the way they're talking right now, would be included as an okay area to do that kind of work. Residential neighborhoods may or may not.
Rick Osborne with Benton County says that meeting starts at noon. The Coast Guard says more than 400 gallons of diesel were poured into the Willamette River a little north of Portland. Authorities say the spill happened Monday around 5 a.m. near the Kinder Morgan bulk terminal in Vancouver, Washington. The spill came from a fuel barge. It was caused by a tank overfill. The barge, owned by Kirby Offshore Marine, contracted an oil spill response company to handle the cleanup. They put out temporary floating barriers and absorbent pads all around the spill site. Officials say they're also investigating downriver for possible residual pollution. Coast Guard inspectors are monitoring the situation, and they say they're working to ensure minimal impact to the environment. Well, congratulations. Oregon has a new Teacher of the Year. Brad Ford has the story.
This is a teacher.
When the Oregon Department of Education announces a Teacher of the Year, they do it at a surprise ceremony. This year, it was at Ben's Juniper Elementary School.
Proud to announce that the 2016 Teacher of the Year is Ms. Heather Anderson.
Heather has been teaching for 13 years, the last 8 years in Bend.
It's really overwhelming and surprising. Just a huge honor to be able to represent our town and state.
She was honored for her work integrating technology into lessons and building a positive environment in her classroom. She receives a $5,000 award and will meet President Obama in April during the National Teacher of the Year ceremony in Washington, D.C. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Okay, if you recall a couple of weeks ago on the wake-up call, we told you that ODOT warned you this time of year was a bad time of year when it comes to vehicles versus, well, deer and elk. Case in point, one woman is recovering from minor injuries after a deer smashed through her windshield, antler first. State troopers say it happened around 7:30 yesterday morning on Highway 20, 3 miles west of Sisters. They say Vona Huggins, a 79-year-old from Terrebonne, was headed west when a buck mule deer was trying to cross the highway. Saw the headlights. It got spooked. It jumped, went right through her windshield. She was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, fortunately minor injuries. Troopers want to remind drivers that October is a peak time for deer and elk migration with more collisions than any other month of the year. So be careful out there. It's 7:26. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. By the way, a quick reminder to you, 2300 block of Compton, you're going to see a lot of police vehicles this morning after police received a report earlier this morning of a burglary in progress. The EPD Violent Crimes Unit and Forensic Evidence Unit are on scene. That sounds ominous. More information will be released, they say, as it becomes available. They also say there's no known ongoing threat to the community. You're up to date from News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Arizona Cardinals of the NFL have caught lightning and father time in a bottle. Chris Johnson in the backfield. Johnson ran for a score and 122 yards on the ground, including 62 of them on a run where he should have been tackled but used the defensive player as a bench. Wheeled around, got up, and kept going. In the end, the now 5-2 Arizona Cardinals dealing out a 26-18 victory over the one-win Baltimore Ravens. Speaking of teams with one win under their belt, the Detroit Lions have grown weary of less than mediocre and fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi and 2 offensive line coaches. The Axings were just hours before they were to leave for this weekend's game in London. Now 31-year-old quarterbacks coach Jim Bob Cooter moves to offensive coordinator and will probably be thrown under the bus in the future. Game 1 of the World Series tonight with the New York Mets traveling to Kansas City to play the Royals. Look for former OSU Beaver Michael Conforto to make a big difference in a Mets uni. This makes it the trifecta. Conforto will have played in the MLB along with the College and Little League World Series, making him only the 3rd player in history to do so. His Little League team out of Richmond, Washington, was the 2004 Northwest Region Championship team. Of course, we know what he did with OSU. And after a 19-season career, Torrey Hunter has decided to retire. Hunter finished this season with a .240 batting average, 22 home runs. As a career, he hit .277 with 353 home runs and 9 Gold Glove awards. An Oregon offensive lineman, redshirt freshman, Braden Eggert, is retiring due to medical reasons. The 6'6", 295-pound lineman from Napa will continue his education on scholarship. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, powered by Wetlands on Garfield in Eugene, your Westside neighborhood sports headquarters and pub at 728.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out the door in the next few minutes, it's somewhat chilly. Temps are in the upper 30s to low 40s. You might want to take a light coat under partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we've got some light hazy fog out there, but I expect it to burn off by about 11 a.m. Now we'll get a few hours of mostly clear skies before late in the afternoon, clouds start rolling in from an approaching storm system. Highs look to be in the mid to upper 60s with a high of 64 here in town. We've got a 40% shot of showers late in the afternoon, really into the evening, but the best shot at rain now looks to be overnight into your Wednesday morning. We're expecting about a 1/10 of an inch as a cold front and storm system blows through the area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. For the most part, I've tried to keep the motivational minutes on a personal instead of political level. But I recently ran across a comment by Thomas Edison that made me feel really good about our famous American inventor. This was the comment: I am proud of the fact that I never invented any weapons to kill. Think about how wonderful this world would be if no one had ever invented any weapons to kill, only inventions to help others live positive and productive lives. Think about all those positive inventions that make your life a good life today. And by the way, thanks, Thomas Edison. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
U.S. Bank provides custom solutions to help you grow your business. We take care of the heavy lifting so you can concentrate on what's important. Whether you've just started in a friend's apartment.
All set. Now, if I could just use your printer.
Printer? What printer?
But...
Or opened your first office.
We have a printer.
There goes the printer.
Or if you've recently expanded your office.
Check out all the people in line for this printer.
Or maybe you've opened a new location.
We have so many printers.
Or transitioned your business to new ownership.
I never want to see another printer again.
You'll have a business banker there to guide you every step of the way. Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/business.
I've got a great idea for my next business.
Cool. Print it out and let me see it.
I'm just gonna email it.
Credit products are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. Some restrictions and fees may apply. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank, National Association, member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Get the news when you want it from KVAL.com. Log on now for the latest news, straight from the KVAL newsroom. Get streaming video, news stories, weather forecasts, and sports highlights, plus the latest weather and driving conditions from across Oregon. Or share your photos and videos on UNews. No other website gives you more. First, fair, accurate information when you want it from KVAL.com.
Honey, I'll be home for the game.
I'm going to finish my homework before the game starts.
Oh, man. Could you believe that game last night?
Should we order a pizza for the game?
Hey, can't talk now. The game's starting.
Kids, let's go. The game's about to come on.
All right, everyone, I'm home. Put the game on. When wheels on, game time is family time.
Big money, spin the wheel. Let's go. Woo!
Mom, the game hasn't even started.
Just warming up, honey.
Wheel of Fortune, America's game.
Weeknights at 7:30 on KVAL.
I won't mention any names, but their initials are...
Holloway in London. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
We got to put the APB out there. Mr. Harsey and those who like to photograph, go out and experience the sunrise out to the east. It is amazing. At least from the window, it looks incredible. Beautiful. All right, so 7:32, of course, hours away from the big game, World Series. When it comes to baseball, we'd like to check in with Bleacher Report's Scott Miller. He's their national MLB columnist, and he joins us on the Wake Up Call, and he likes cheeseburgers, judging by his Twitter account. Scott, great to have you.
Good morning, guys. Happy to be here. Greetings from Kansas City, and being that I'm in Kansas City, I probably ought to add, in addition to cheeseburgers, barbecue to that Twitter account.
Yeah, you're in a good spot there. I'm sure it doesn't suck after the games or before, for sure.
No, the only danger is staying in this town too long. By the time we go to New York on Thursday, I'll probably be more than ready to go. We're having had too much barbecue, but there are worse problems to have.
Absolutely. Hey, before we talk about series, your thoughts on 9-time Gold Glove winner Torrey Hunter retiring after 19 seasons in the bigs. He was a quality player on and off the field.
He absolutely was, and I'll tell you what, I'll go a little personal with you here. He was one of my all-time favorites. I covered the Minnesota Twins for the St. Paul Pioneer Press from the beginning of 1994 through 1999 seasons. I was there for Torrey's very first game when they called him up from the minor leagues just a pinch run in Baltimore. He was in Double-A ball around 95 or 6 maybe, and they identified him. They knew he was going to be really good. They wanted to give him a taste of the majors, make him hungrier as part of his development. He came up to Baltimore. He pinch ran. They sent him back to the minors, and then another year later he came back up. And like I say, I've known him since he was 19. One of my all-time favorite players. As you say, it's just such a good person off the field as well as on. Obviously, very good career on the field. Led Minnesota to the playoffs. Did some good things to Anaheim, Detroit. Finished with Minnesota.
Yeah.
And an enigmatic personality who just lights up a clubhouse or whatever room he's in.
And he, wants to spend more time with the family, so you can't fault him for that. Leaving with good numbers. All right, World Series, we got to get to it because I'm sure there's some people out there that did not have Mets and Royals on their marquee. Royals were there last year. They got experience, but boy, look at the Mets. They got the pitching. They were scoring some crazy runs per game. Who do you give the edge to? Who do you think is going to be pulling this out here?
You know, I think it's awfully close. I think it could go either way. I like the Royals to win it in 7. I think the fact that they were here last year is going to help. And the other thing, to me, the most interesting thing about this World Series, I think it's going to be a very good matchup. But to me, the thing to watch is this. The Mets have all those young power arms. They, as a staff, have thrown more pitches this season, clocked at 95 miles an hour and above, than any other team in the majors. Now, the Kansas City Royals, against pitches 95 miles an hour or above, Kansas City had the best batting average in the major leagues, 284. So I think that power Mets pitching against a lineup in Kansas City that doesn't strike out much, that puts the ball in play, that is going to be fascinating to watch. I think the Royals are a very complete team. I mean, their lineup, they don't have that 40 home run hitter, but there are no weak spots whatsoever in that Royals lineup. I think it's going to be a real good series. I do think it's a coin flip. I expect it to go 6 or 7 games. I'm sorry?
You expect it to go 7?
Yeah. I have the prediction is the Royals in 7. I do think it's going to go at least 6, probably 7. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking at this cat, Daniel Murphy, 6 straight home games with a home run. Okay, he might really be good in big games, but he's not that good. Or is he? I mean, for somebody that doesn't know him, can he keep this up to the series?
You know, I find it hard to believe what he's doing. He only had 14 home runs during the season, and he's got 7 already in the postseason, including 6 games in a row in which he's homered. A couple things on Murphy. One, among those players in the majors who had enough at-bats to qualify for the batting title, so you need like 502 at-bats or whatever, he struck out the least of any player in the majors. So that's one reason I think he's got so hot right now. When you don't strike out, when you put the ball on the bat, you give yourself a chance, and some good things can happen. And he's certainly in a groove right now. Sure, he can keep it up, but the thing that continues to baffle me, and I expect Kansas City pitchers to bust him inside. The thing that baffles me is as he's gotten hot throughout this postseason, I haven't seen any opposing pitcher come hard inside on Daniel Murphy, back him off the plate, maybe knock him down, at least get him to move his feet in the batter's box. Every at-bat he's had has been a comfortable at-bat, and I keep waiting for the first pitcher to make it an uncomfortable at-bat, and I think after what he's done so far, I would fully expect his first at-bat tonight. I would expect Edinson Volquez of the Royals to come inside and say, hey, I know what you've done all this postseason. I respect it. But you're meeting a new staff of pitchers now. That's how I think they've got to attack.
At least get him to think about it
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Miller with the Bleacher Report talking about the big game 1 tonight, Kansas City, New York. X factors or variables, one for each team. What do you think the average fan should be on the lookout for?
Well, the Mets have been very opportunistic during these playoffs. And one example of that, they only stole 51 bases for the entire regular season. They ranked 29th in the major leagues in stolen bases. This postseason, they have already got 9 stolen bases. Curtis Granderson in the leadoff spot has gotten on base a ton, stolen a few bases. That's one example. The Mets have been exceptionally opportunistic, so that's one thing to keep an eye on where the Mets are concerned. And where Kansas City's concerned, this team has been incredibly resilient. They, in the division series against Houston, they trailed all 5 games, and yet they came back to win that series 3-2. They got behind one of the games against Toronto. It's a good, really good team. I think Kansas City is as complete of a team as there is, and I think that's why they're back in the World Series for a second consecutive year after only playing in 2 World Series total in the first 45 years of their existence.
Wow. Pretty amazing. And speaking of amazing, you got to give love to Conforto, who's played in the World Series, Little League style, college, and now going to be playing in the MLB. One of 3 players who've done that. So we got an Oregon State Beaver out there,
yes,
who's worthy of a little bit of, he's got to back it up at the bat, but he's doing some pretty amazing things for a career, a lifetime.
Oh, no question. And he can hit. He's legit. He's going to grow into a star in this game, I firmly believe. One thing, the Mets this year were a completely different team in the second half. They had this great pitching all year, but they couldn't score. Through the first half of the season, their average runs per game, they were toward the bottom of the major leagues. It wasn't until the second half of the season that they finally put together an offense that scored some runs and allowed them to win. And in the second half of the season, what happened, obviously the Yoenis Cespedes trade, Travis d'Arnaud, their catcher, came off the disabled list, and among other things, Michael Conforto was called up to the minor leagues, and he contributed as well.
Yeah, stayed on the team. All right, BleacherReport.com, where you can check out Scott Miller. Scott, have a great time out there. We'll check back with you. Great having you on the show. Thanks for the time.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Enjoy that sunrise. Sounds magnificent.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's romantic. All right, got an author of a great book coming up next on 1120 KPNW. It's going to blow you away.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. The Fed begins a 2-day meeting today to decide whether to raise rates for the first time since 2006. But the reality is the probability of a move this month was greatly diminished by the most recent jobs report. We are seeing stocks lower this morning. UPS falling after reporting quarterly sales and missed analyst estimates. We're looking ahead to the all-important holiday season this year. The company underestimated demand for last-minute orders in 2013, and last year it added too much staff and facilities and watched them sit idle on some days. The parent of Burger King got a boost in earnings. Restaurant Brands quarterly profit beating estimates. The burger chain added the fiery chicken fries to the menu in August, helping boost same-store sales 6.2% last quarter. Age discrimination is pervasive in the U.S. despite laws that prohibit it. And the older you are, the more discrimination you face. That's according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. Older women have it particularly tough. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, look at me. I didn't invite them. The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
.43. Sonia Purnell is a biographer and a political commentator. Has worked with The Economist, The Telegraph, and Daily Mail. She's turned her sights on the wife of Winston Churchill in a book called Clementine, The Life of Mrs. Winston Churchill, published by Viking, and it's out now. She joins us now on the Celebrity Hotline. Sonia, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Clementine Churchill was a major figure in history, although maybe some don't know that because she's flown under the historical radar. Not a lot written and documented about her. I'm curious when you had that realization that she needed the literary spotlight and it was your pen to do it.
Well, why not me? I thought in the end. What happened was I stumbled across his letter that she sent Churchill when he became Prime Minister in 1940 during the Second World War, when Britain was fighting for its survival against Nazi Germany. And it couldn't have been more tense. She wrote this letter to him. She sent a little note down the corridor to his office. And the first draft she ripped up, and then she wrote it again. And it was an affectionate letter, but it was very forthright. And she'd heard reports that he'd been sort of rather rough with some of his staff, been barking at them and things. And she said, she reminded him that he needs to be kind and calmer than ever because of the extremity of the circumstances, and that he needed to bring his staff on side with him to make them love him and follow him because they wanted to, and that they would do their best for him, whatever. And she wrote this letter, and it was forthright. And there was no reply. But then I looked at all these sort of the accounts of his staff and his entourage at that time, and they all noted that his manner changed. And sure, sometimes, you know, he still barked at people, but then he remembered to just spend a little time putting his arm around someone and saying, I didn't mean to be fierce, I only mean to be fierce with one man, and that's Hitler. And he did become loved, and he did become this leader who could pull people towards him. They wanted to serve him. They wanted to do their best for him. And I think that's very much down to Clementine. That was just one sort of insight as to how that partnership worked. They were a team. She shored up his weaknesses, his flaws, and made him into the statesman that we all now know him as.
Talk about Clementine pre-Winston, her early years.
Well, they were extraordinary. I mean, she was the granddaughter of a Scottish earl, and he had this lovely castle up in the Scottish Islands. But her mother, Lady Blanche, was divorced and had very, very little money, and her little family of 4 children and herself on their own would move from one set of quite cheap rooms to another to stay one step ahead of the bailiffs and things. And you know, sometimes there wasn't enough money for food on the table. Sometimes Clementine had to go and ask for credit in the stores to buy food. She found this humiliating, and also it gave her great insecurity. She felt sort of emotionally insecure. Her mother was much sort of favoured her elder sister. Churchill also had quite an emotionally deprived childhood in a very different way. And so when they met, you know, they were two quite insecure people. It might not seem that way from the outside, but they were, and they comforted and complemented each other and found something in common with each other.
You talk about the first initial meeting of the two. Initially, she wasn't that wasn't impressed by the rising politician, but fate would change soon after.
Yes, that's right. Well, I mean, he wasn't ever, even in his comparative youth, a terribly good-looking kind of chap, and he was quite short. He was shorter than her, for instance, and he was already slightly balding in his early 30s when he first encountered her. But they first met at a ball where he walked in, and he saw this absolutely stunning woman. A rich aunt had given her a ball gown so she could attend. She had the most amazing sapphire blue eyes. She was willowy. She was quite extraordinary to look at. And so extraordinary that when he asked to be introduced to her, he could think of nothing to say. So this great orator just stood there. He was literally struck dumb by her beauty. And she thought he was rather strange as a result. He sort of beckoned to a friend to sort of get away quickly. But then, 4 years later, they didn't meet again for 4 years. They were both invited to a dinner party by the same rich and kind aunt, and neither of them wanted to go. They were both tired, quite separately, different parts of town. They both went. He arrived late. There was one chair left at the dinner table, and that was next to her. And do you know what? They talked and talked and talked all night because they both discovered they loved politics, and they had this great thing in common, as well as all that sort of insecurity and that need for someone else to sort of support them. And 4 months later, they were married, and they stayed married for 57 years until his death in 1965.
Pretty interesting, and I feel I want to say it was her daughter-in-law. Later would talk about their union, and when you say 57 years apart, actual time spent together was not a lot. I mean, they were apart a lot. You know, of course, he had things to do, but they also vacationed separately, and they lived in separate bedrooms.
Yes, that is all true, which doesn't sound like a very promising recipe for marriage, or maybe it does. I mean, the fact that they did spend time apart meant that when they were together, they really enjoyed each other's company. And he was a domineering person. His character, his personality was huge, and sometimes she simply needed a break from that. It was a bit like being married to a hurricane, a sort of vortex of energy the whole time. It was exhausting to be around Winston Churchill, and frankly, she needed that room that she could go to be on her own. And they had very different ideas about vacations too. He loved great luxury at all times, even though they themselves were not that wealthy. He was always overspending. She preferred quiet little holidays near museums or at the British seaside with friends and just quiet. And so something very, very different. They had quite different tastes in many ways, and yet when they were together, there was this spark, and they worked together a lot, particularly during the Second World War, where she was constantly at his side and his greatest advisor.
The book is called Clementine, The Life of Mrs. Winston Churchill. The author, Sonia Purnell, on with the wake-up call. She was a fighter for the British people and a big voice for women and the underprivileged, more so than her children. Talk about her, I guess both, because I don't think he was much of a father either.
No, I think that's right. I think, you have to say that neither of them was a terrific parent. I mean, as I've explained, partly that they weren't very well parented themselves, and Churchill was neglected really by his parents. He was born into a palace, the only private palace in Britain, but that didn't mean to say that he was given great love by his parents. He wasn't. He relied on his nanny, Mrs. Everest. Clementine didn't even have her nanny. Her mother, like Winston's mother, had many, many boyfriends, sometimes 10 on the go at once, and she was much more interested in them than she was, I'm afraid, in Clementine. And so, these were sort of difficult childhoods, but in a sense, when they came together, it helped them, it gave them drive. They both wanted to prove themselves. Because they'd had these sort of emotion-deprived childhoods, they felt that they had so much to prove to the world, and I think that's what drove them. Winston wanted to prove himself to his dead father, who ignored him largely, and Clementine to her mother, who sort of never thought much of her, and consequently they never really thought much about their own children. It was about great events, it was about saving the world, and it wasn't about nursery teas or going to the beach or just dealing with their everyday childcare issues. I think they loved their children, but they didn't quite know how to look after them.
Well, and then there was Mary, their daughter. It's hard to not come across the word pimp and think that there was a little manipulation. She was kind of a game piece in their dealings. Their daughter Mary.
The youngest daughter, well, she was the one who was brought up by a cousin of Clementine's.
You're right.
Did you mean Pamela?
Yes, Pamela.
Pamela was their daughter-in-law. So Pamela was this very, very sexy lady who was married to their son, Randolph. Not very happily, actually. Randolph wasn't easy to be married to either. And during the war, she was sort of almost like Britain's secret weapon. It was her patriotic duty, shall we say, to become very friendly with certain key Americans, such as Averell Harriman, as well as certain generals, American generals. And it was part of the Churchill's belief that they had to do anything to get American support in the war. Britain was not going to win the war without American support, and America was, as we know, reluctant to get involved for very, very good reasons. But Britain had to persuade America that it was worth saving, that it could survive. And Pamela's relationship with her affair with Averell Harriman was certainly one way that they set about doing that. Randolph, of course, wasn't very pleased. He couldn't believe his parents were helping his wife to be unfaithful in this way, and there were many, many rows and much business about that, and it sounds deeply shocking, but at that time it was do whatever you have to do to get America on side and save this country, and that's what they did.
In today's, I don't know, if you were to take today's measurements and comparisons in our terms, I think Clementine could be considered vice president with what she accomplished and what, her role with, Winston. She was kind of a leader herself as far as, without the title, she did a lot.
That's absolutely right, and without her own staff or anything, Prime Minister's wives then had no staff at all. Even now they only have one or two people helping them, but she was involved in every aspect of government, so she knew all the secrets from Bletchley Park before the cabinet did. She advised Winston on his speeches, but also his conferences with President Roosevelt and Stalin and Soviet Russia and de Gaulle of France. She advised him in all of these aspects. But she also, while he concentrated on international affairs, she also very much took the lead in the domestic world. So she made sure that air raid shelters were suitable for people to live in, and people were spending a lot of their lives in air raid shelters. She completely transformed them, and she'd order officials around and get ministers working, and she organised a system where women would go up as fire watchers on the roofs of cities during air raids to send crews to the right places to put out fires. A really dangerous and terrifying job, but one that she did herself to set an example to others. She was involved in appointments of key generals and military staff, and she really was involved in everything. It is quite extraordinary to think that now, this is 70 years ago, that a woman was involved in so many ways, and which has not really happened again in Britain except once when we've had a woman Prime Minister. I don't think we've ever had any other woman quite as powerful as Clementine.
Why do you think she's escaped the attention and spotlight? Why has she gone kind of flown under that historical radar?
I think because she didn't want to be on the radar necessarily, and particularly not during the Second World War when it all had to be Winston as the sort of the figurehead. Yes, she was the smiling face by his side, and yes, people did write to her in their droves, but she didn't want glory for herself. It was all about winning the war. And also, you know, he is this historical titan. He has overshadowed anyone around him, and that includes her. And people who subscribe to sort of the great man view of history, they just talk about him as this legend. But what I've tried to do is to go behind the legend and find out about the man. I mean, how come he was someone who would stand up to Hitler when no one else could? And I asked that question, and I looked at all the sort of the diaries and the accounts of the time, and I teased out these little bits and pieces, and I realised that his physician, for instance, Lord Moran, had asked himself that question, and observing Churchill at close quarters, he concluded that, yes, he drew his resolve, he drew his strength, he drew his courage from one person, and that was Clementine. And I realised that this was this sort of this secret, almost a scandal that we don't know more about her, because she kept him going. She allowed Winston Churchill to be the historical titan that he is. And so, in fact, she does deserve her time in the sun, and that's what I've tried to do with the book.
Who would you want her to be played by? If they were to come to you and say, we want to make a movie, who would you cast as Clementine? You had to have thought about it at least a little bit.
Okay, I have a little, I confess. I think Meryl Streep would do her brilliantly. I think she could have that poise and also give that insight into what was going on inside in Clementine. And Clementine was very good at not revealing her sort of inner fears and things, but I think Meryl Streep would be able to sort of give us a clue at the same time keeping that very, very calm, courageous exterior. I think she'd be wonderful.
First off, first name that popped in my head was Helen Mirren, and then Kate Winslet. But I think any of those three you couldn't go wrong with. Yeah,
absolutely. Any of the three. Maybe Kate Winslet a bit too young. If you were going to concentrate on the Second World War, I think, you know, by that point she was in her 50s. But, a great actress who can give that sort of feeling of dignity, I think. I think she did have great dignity.
Sonia, it's an incredible book. A lot of research went into it. Thank you so much for the time.
Well, thank you so much for asking such great questions. It's been a pleasure to be on.
Sonia Purnell, the book is called Clementine, The Life of Mrs. Winston Churchill, on with the Wake Up Call. Coming up on 8 o'clock, News Radio 1120, KPNW. Got beautiful sunrise or the aftermath, and currently 42 degrees.
I came home from work and walked in the door. The kids built a snowman in the middle of the floor. The furnace shut down. Oh, that's just great. Good thing Priority One is open late.
Winter in the end of 2015 is just around the corner. Now's the time to call Priority One to get that new Carrier heat pump unit and save big. Get your rebates and tax credits before they ever gone.
Get manufacturer's rebates or receive up to $1,250 in state tax credits by calling Priority One now.
PriorityOneHeating.com. Keeping you in comfort, that's Priority One.
Hunting season is underway, and if you've had a great hunt, email us a picture along with a snapshot of your tag and get entered into KPNW's Take Your Best Shot contest, sponsored by Oak Grove Guns. Daily winners beginning November 2nd with the grand prize winner announced November 16th. If your hunting photo is selected, you'll take home a Remington 783 from Oak Grove Guns and the caliber of your choice. Just send us a photo of your 2015 hunt. Get more details at KPNW. KPNW.com.
Is your home way too hot this summer? This is Josh Lowe with Dr. Energy Saver, and we fix uncomfortable homes. You need better insulation to keep you comfortable all year round. We are the only company in town to provide one-stop shopping for all your energy needs. Insulation, windows,
Fox
doors.
News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Forget Russia and all its airstrikes in Syria. The U.S. says that's not stopping us from intensifying the fight against ISIS. Fox News Radio's John Decker, live in Washington.
In testimony before the Senate Armed Services Committee, Defense Secretary Ash Carter told Republican Committee Chairman John McCain that he's not in favor of a no-fly zone in war-torn Syria.
We have not recommended that. We have analyzed it. We presented the alternative.
So you do not support, you do not agree with General Petraeus and former Secretary Gates and Secretary Clinton?
We do not have a concept of operations for a no-fly zone at this time.
Carter said he expects to boost the scope and intensity of the coalition air campaign against ISIS. The president, meanwhile, is considering moving U.S. troops closer to the front lines in Iraq and Syria. Dave?
John, the military also says it might do more frequent patrols in the China Sea, South China Sea, after a warship got close to territory the Chinese claim is theirs. The U.S. doesn't agree.
That is one of the reefs in the area that China has been artificially building up in the past couple of years into islands and, according to security experts, constructing airstrips and other military features.
Fox's Greg Palcott adds China claims the
U.S. is threatening its security interests, even damaging a regional peace in that area.
Some conservatives don't like it, but House Republicans have worked out a 2-year budget agreement with the White House that averts a debt limit fight and potential government shutdown.
This is a good deal for our troops, for our taxpayers, and for the American people.
A vote could come tomorrow, the day before the House votes to replace John Boehner as Speaker, likely with Paul Ryan, who says this process stinks. San Francisco's taking aim at a new gun provision. City supervisors will vote today on whether or not to require video recordings of all gun and ammunition sales, which could later be used in criminal investigations. The owner of the San Francisco only gun shop says he'd close for good rather than subject customers to such surveillance. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
It's the Yellow Tag event, and now is the time to find your ultimate adventure. Whether it's a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Ski-Doo snowmobile, you can turn up the excitement for any season with our industry-leading performance and technology. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 models and get up to a 3-year warranty.
Visit Valley Power Sports in Eugene and online at valleypowersports.net.
Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the 2nd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Rescuers keep trying to get to the hard-hit areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan the day after a powerful earthquake. It's now at least 339 people killed. A South Carolina police officer is off the hook in the death of a 19-year-old during a drug sting in Seneca. A prosecutor today says no charges will be filed. City lawyers say Mark Tiller was justified shooting Zachary Hammond as he drove his car at the officer. Hammond's family claims Tiller threatened that suspect first. A sheriff's deputy in that state is also under scrutiny for what happened at a school.
Richland County Deputy Ben Fields is on leave after the confrontation that happened Monday, video of which quickly went viral. The incident at Spring Valley High School in Columbia was apparently caught on camera by someone in the class and shows the deputy, a school resource officer, asking a teen girl to get up from her desk. When she refuses, he tips the desk backwards and tosses her several feet across the floor. The sheriff's office is asking the FBI and the Department of Justice to look into the incident. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News Radio.
The World Series starts tonight for the 2nd straight year in Kansas City, where Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso is live.
Dave, the Fall Classic begins tonight at the K here in Kansas City. Home field advantage for the Royals, who along with the Mets haven't won a championship since the mid-1980s. So both clubhouses and their fans are excited to be here.
I'm envisioning plenty of blue everywhere and pretty much mass chaos, all sorts of crazy stuff.
She's rooting for the Royals, who will try to shut down one of the hottest hitters in baseball in Daniel Murphy. The guy tasked with that job, pitcher Edison Volquez, takes the mound against Matt Harvey under light rain and an expected 55 degrees. Dave.
Jeff, we're a little less optimistic about the economy. Consumer confidence down this month amid increased nervousness about the job market as the Federal Reserve begins a two-day meeting assessing the economy. No interest rate hike is expected. On Wall Street, the Dow's down 4 points. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Sunshine starting to ring throughout the Willamette Valley. A little bit of cloud cover today. A 40% chance of rain working its way into the forecast with a 90% chance. The emphatic rain coming in tomorrow with a 90% chance of rain. Enjoy it while you can today. Get out there and be productive. I would say you get a little rainy weather, a little inclement situation would be a great excuse to go into the Holt Center and hang out. And maybe before that, walk across, well, a couple of streets, but within the region, and maybe have a little hookup with the Northwest Burgers there at the 5th Street. To me, that sounds like a good time. A little river dance, and then I think, you know, as you watch them physically exert, you can kind of by osmosis work off anything that you feel like you need to. How about tickets to River Dance? We got the mezzanine box for tomorrow.
I'm doing the River Dance right now. In case
that's awful.
You don't think that looks like
that's terrible?
Oh,
he's just making a mockery out of it. I don't think you want to like show off your dancing prowess because.
Are you saying I don't have any dancing prowess?
But do we have anything else? We got burgers. We got tickets. That pretty much.
Yeah, that pretty much does. That cleans us out for the month.
At least for the day.
No, that cleans us out for the month. We're pretty much that right there. That's our budget out the window.
So here's what we want to do. I would love for this to go to somebody who, well, for one thing, we'll use it. We'll use the tickets and eventually have some burgers over there at the 5th Street. But works. Maybe you are the most deserved of such a package. We got the prize pack for you right now. If you can kind of let us know why we should give it to you and not to somebody else. 541-45 KPNW. Maybe it's maybe you went through a separation a couple of years ago and it's the first date. You're going to ask somebody for the first time. I'm just throwing it out there. Your situation might be more dire. Let us know why we should give this to you. KPNW, good morning. Matt, see?
So, in other words, what you're saying is we're trying to find somebody sort of needy?
I'm going deserved.
Oh, okay. All right. Deserved as opposed to needy.
That's how you address it. I would go the other route. KPNW, good morning.
Fair enough.
Hello. Hey, good morning. Good morning. I've got a reason.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm a vegetarian from January 2nd until Thanksgiving. So I eat meat about 1 month out of the year.
Okay.
Is that a good reason?
You're in the running. We'll say that you're contestant 1. Contestant number 2, why are you deserved of our prize? We got good stuff from Northwest Burgers, and we got River Dance tickets. Why should we give them to you?
Playing more on the side of needy. My wife's birthday was the other day, and just running close to payday. I had some medical bills and wasn't able to give her a treat this month for her birthday.
You forgot? Did you forget?
I didn't forget.
Okay.
It was just that feed the kids or take my wife out to dinner.
Yeah, don't have to explain that. I get that. All right, that's kind of hard to beat. Contestant number 3, why should we give the entire thing to you?
Well, I think I need it. We need it because we just had a baby 8 weeks ago. We haven't had a date night, my wife and I.
Oh, man. You had to make this hard, Rob. I'm throwing Rob under the bus. I'm making him pick this one himself.
Okay.
You got so date night. Guy isn't able to afford getting his wife anything for her birthday because of life, and then the 11-month out of the year vegetarian.
All right. So I think contestant number 1, we'll give him a hearty how-do. Thank you for listening. But at this point, it comes down to contestant number 2 and contestant number 3. Now, I know that contestant number 3 is going to have medical bills as well. And I know what it's like at this point. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Almost sounded like you hung up. So what I'm going to do here is hook you up with the goods as far as you get the Riverdance tickets and Northwest Burgers. And contestant number 2, we're going to give you our remaining pair of tickets for the Riverdance.
And I'm going to throw in another Northwest Burger.
So we got...
Yeah, so both of them are getting Northwest Burger.
Yeah, all right.
I can't see not.
And yeah, I was going to ask you off the air, but by the way, little boy or little girl?
Little girl.
Oh.
Yeah, and we waited the whole time to find out what she was. It was pretty exciting.
Wow, amazing.
Congratulations.
Call it a miracle.
Thank you.
Is an understatement. Hang on 1 sec. Congratulations. Stand by. It's 8:11. See? All is good. And Wake Up Callville. News is coming up next.
Burrito Amigos and game day. You can't beat them. Having a game night in while the team is on the road? Well, invite all your amigos over and let Burrito Amigos supply the eats. Call in an order, pick it up, and it's party on. On the hot side, I suggest Fire Bites. They're deep-fried jalapeno slices, or treat your guests to cheese-filled jalapenos, pepitas. Or go deep with tacos, taquitos, and nachos. And Burrito Amigos taco salads are so big, everyone can dig in. Now, on the side, you can supply the chips while Burrito Amigos supplies the fresh beans, rice, and salsa to dip those chips in. If you want to plan ahead, stop by the night before and get some fresh, cold tamales by the dozen and nuke them at home the day of the game. Here's your Burrito Amigos helpful hint. When you go the tamale route, take home some mole or the thick, cheesy, spicy poblano soup to use as sauce over the tamales. Better yet, use both. And, of course, all of this is great for tailgate parties. You might even go the burrito route. Burrito Amigos all over Eugene and Springfield. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I can tell you there are some weekends where you may even like Burrito Amigos better than the game.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a .com domain name for only $2.99 for the first year. Right now at GoDaddy.com. 2-year purchase required. Second year is $14.99.
It's the Yellow Tag event, and now is the time to find your ultimate adventure. Whether it's a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spider, or Ski-Doo snowmobile, you can turn up the excitement for any season with our industry-leading performance and technology. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 models and get up to a 3-year warranty.
Visit Valley Power Sports in Eugene and online at valleypowersports.net.
Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
What does better mean to you? Better is coffee with a view. Better is a berry from the vine. Better is the journey. At Providence, we know there are many paths to better health. No matter how you define it, Providence Medicare Advantage plans can help you achieve your better. With Providence, you get a no-cost gym membership with all of our plans and access to thousands of providers in and out of Providence facilities. Talk Talk to us about which plan is best for you. Call 1-866-948-5147. That's 1-866-948-5147. We're here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Providence Medicare Advantage plans. Better you, better world. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits may change on January 1st of each year. The provider network may change at any time. You will receive notice when necessary.
Money Saver Cards. Coburg Road Car Wash, a quarter-mile north of the Oakway Center.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. Let's look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a pleasurable start to a cold, foggy morning. Here's what's going on. Last week, the Eugene City Council voted to put off until January 19th the public hearing on the South Willamette Special Area Zone. Yesterday, the City Council pushed that out until mid-March. Now, the SPAZ was an integral part of the nearly endless Envision Eugene process. Mayor Piercy, City Manager John Reese, and city planners hope to dramatically change the land use laws in Eugene, allowing them to shoehorn high-density apartments in local area neighborhoods, the domain of single-family homes. Neighborhood groups were aghast and fuming, saying that it was going to hurt the view and it was going to reduce their property values. Well, last week, Councilor Mike Clark made a series of motions essentially gutting the South Willamette SPAZ, preventing that kind of zoning change. And he proposed a series of changes that would protect single-dwelling zones throughout the city. A majority of council members voted in favor of Clark's proposals. The City Planning Committee says it needs the extra time to change planning rules to adopt Clark's plan and asking to push the hearing out until next March. A 23-year-old man was stabbed outside the Fred Meyer store on Division in Eugene. His cell phone was also taken. The crime happened Sunday morning around 6 a.m. when Eugene police were sent to the garden entrance of the store. The victim had only minor wounds. Police arrested 19-year-old Daniel Thomas Hill a short time later at a Sherry's restaurant. That was based on the victim's description. Hill was arrested on robbery and assault charges. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is normally crucial to retailers looking to get a jump on holiday shopping. But if you're planning on heading out to the REI in Eugene, well, change your plans. The CEO of REI says they're putting business aside for the day.
I'm Jerry Strisky, the CEO of REI. This Black Friday, we're closing all 143 of our stores.
Black Friday is normally among the top 10 days of sales for the company, and shoppers think it's a good idea.
I think it's kind of a cool idea.
I think it's great. I was really proud of them, actually. I think it's great that they're letting their employees take that day off.
REI is encouraging customers to take the day and enjoy the outdoors. They're using the hashtag #OptOutside, where people can tell their stories, how they use their day slogging around in the mud and the rain instead of taking part in shopping madness. Eugene police are investigating a case involving a dead dog after a woman claimed her pet died in a car after she was arrested and was in jail for more than 2 weeks. The woman took to social media and the internet to share her side of the story. She's claiming EPD neglected her dog following the arrest, and that led to its death. The police say the matter is under investigation. In an online post, the owner of Magic identifies herself as Tamla Bemis and writes that on the morning of October 5th, she was arrested while riding her bike to a donut shop. Magic was left in a car, which Bemis says in her post is their home where the two lived. Bemis was stopped because she matched the description of a burglary suspect in the area. EPD says Bemis had warrants out for her arrest on possession of meth and delivery of drugs. Bemis claims she was in jail for 17 days, and when she was let out, she went back to her car to find Magic dead and rotted in the back seat. EPD says at the time of the arrest, Bemis told them she had a car parked near Jay and Marshall with a dog in it. However, police say they couldn't locate the car in the area. One of the questions that's coming up is, did they even look? EPD says they're still investigating and they hope to get the facts straightened out. The car was also not registered to Bemis. An Oregon man with a lengthy rap sheet is facing charges of stealing equipment from the BLM to settle a debt. Court documents say that 45-year-old Larry Larson of Springfield gave a tractor stolen from a BLM maintenance yard to a Josephine County resident. Oh, yeah, and he also gave him a bag of meth. Larson was released from prison in early 2014. Authorities say he stole a Ford truck from an auto dealership in Albany and then, using it like a giant key, simply drove it through a fence at the BLM property in April. Then he stole the tractor. Charging documents say Larson conspired with 4 other people to carry it out. He's the only one being held in jail because he was indicted by a federal grand jury on a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. The number of bottle redemption centers continues to grow in Oregon. Brad Ford reports Salem is getting its 3rd bottle drop tomorrow.
Bottle drop centers are planned in larger cities across Oregon. Retailers in a certain area stop accepting bottles. So to get your bottle return money, you go to a redemption center where you can run the bottles through a machine or set up an account and just leave the bottles.
We count the containers for them and the money goes onto their account.
Sherilyn Burgess with the Oregon Beverage Recycling Cooperative says the centers have new machines with better technology that reduce the frustration of the old machines that frequently jam.
We're just taking container returns and making it so much more convenient.
In 2013, the legislature approved the rollout of the redemption centers. There are currently 14, and they plan to open 4 a year over the next 8 years. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, Portland Mayor Charlie Hales says he won't be running for re-election. He says he's too busy with city business to take the time to run a campaign.
We're having a gang violence wave. I'm the police commissioner. I could really work with the whole community to try to turn that tide, or I could run for office. We have a housing crisis and we're in danger of becoming San Francisco. I could focus on affordable housing and homelessness, or I could run for office.
Now, coincidentally, 3 Portland former mayors actually endorsed his opponent, Ted Wheeler, on the same day that Hales said, I'm too busy to run. Wheeler issued a statement saying that he respects Hales' decision and that he had to do what was right for himself and his family. So, if you took all the poor people in Oregon and put them in one place, it would be the poorest place in Oregon.
In 2014, about 644,000 Oregonians lived in poverty. If poverty was a city in Oregon, it would be the state's largest city.
We need to come up with a name for it. Oregon Center for Public Policy analyst Tyler McGinnis says that the newly released census figures show that poverty in Oregon is worse now than it was during the Great Recession, and that 21% of all kids live, in poverty. So a Hillsborough man is a little bit upset about the way the TSA searched his 90-year-old mother at the Portland International Airport. Ellen Charney says they put her coat through the scanner, and then she went through the body scanner, and then they asked the little old lady to a private room.
They wanted her to take all of her clothes off from her waist up.
So she complied. She even removed her bra. She had sewn in a small pocket in the bra for money to be used in an emergency. The body scanners are very sensitive and alert on paper, but they can't tell screeners what they find. The TSA says it's uncommon for someone to have to remove their clothing, and they're continuing to investigate. Well, the nation has a mental health care crisis. Oregon Congressman Greg Walden says even though we spend $130 billion a year, 40% of Americans with mental illness don't receive treatment. So he's co-sponsoring the Helping Families in Mental Crisis Act.
Now, this is bipartisan legislation that would reform the nation's federal mental health programs and direct resources to those most in need in a more timely basis.
Walden says it would allow families to work more closely with mental health care professionals, increase the number of psychiatric beds, and increase telepsychiatry, which helps in rural areas where patients need to drive long distances to get the help they need. Walden says the mentally ill are 15 times less likely to commit violent acts when they're getting help with their illness. Marijuana is going to be the topic of discussion today when the Benton County Board of Commissioners meet with the Community Development Director in a work session to talk about development code amendments regarding commercial growing, processing, and selling the newly legalized product.
We have a pretty good grasp on where we're going to allow it in the county for those operations. For example, like farm and forest land would be, at least the way they're talking right now, would be included as an okay area to do that kind of work. Residential neighborhoods may or may not.
Rick Osborne with Benton County says the meeting will start today at noon. Oregon has a new Teacher of the Year. Brad Ford has our final story.
This is a teacher.
When the Oregon Department of Education announces a Teacher of the Year, they do it at a surprise ceremony. This year, it was at Ben's Juniper Elementary School.
Proud to announce that the 2016 Teacher of the Year is Miss Heather Anderson.
Heather has been teaching for 13 years, the last 8 years in Bend.
It's really overwhelming and surprising. Just a huge honor to be able to represent our town and state.
She was honored for her work integrating technology into lessons and building a positive environment in her classroom. She receives a $5,000 award and will meet President Obama in April during the National Teacher of the Year ceremony in Washington, D.C. Brad Ford, KPNW.
This look at the news has been brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Arizona Wildcats have caught lightning and father time in a bottle with Chris Johnson in the backfield. Johnson ran for a score 122 yards on the ground, including 62 of them on a run where he should have been tackled by, well, using the defensive player as a bench. Wheeling around, stepped up and ran some more. In the end, it was the 5-2 Arizona Cardinals dealing out a 26-18 win over the one-win Baltimore Ravens. Speaking of teams with one win under their belt, Detroit Lions have grown weary of less than mediocre performances and have fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi and 2 offensive line coaches. That'll fix it. Accidents were just hours before they were to leave for this weekend's game in London. Now, 31-year-old quarterbacks coach Jim Bob Cooter is on the hot seat and the new offensive coordinator. Game 1 of the World Series tonight with the New York Mets traveling to Kansas City to play the Royals. Look for former OSU Beaver Michael Conforto to be making a difference in a Mets uni. This is the trifecta. Conforto will have played in the MLB along with the College and Little League World Series, making him only the 3rd player in history to do so. And after a 19 Major League season career, Torrey Hunter has decided to hang it up. Hunter finished with a .240 batting average, 22 home runs as a 40-year-old. As a career, Hunter hit .277 with 353 homers, 9 Gold Glove awards, an all-around great person. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, powered by Wetlands on Garfield in Eugene, your West Side neighborhood sports headquarters and pub at 827.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out the door in the next few minutes, it's somewhat chilly. Temps are in the upper 30s to low 40s. You might want to take a light coat under partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we've got some light hazy fog out there, but I expect it to burn off by about 11 a.m. Now we'll get a few hours of mostly clear skies before late in the afternoon, clouds start rolling in from an approaching storm system. Highs look to be in the mid to upper 60s with a high of 64 here in town. We've got a 40% shot of showers late in the afternoon, really into the evening, but the best shot at rain now looks to be overnight into your Wednesday morning. We're expecting about 1/10 of an inch as a cold front and storm system blows through the area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings end soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. You'll get lower payments, all the latest features, plus 2 years of Toyota Care no-cost service. Savings don't end soon at your Northwest Toyota dealer.
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer today for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
Toyota. Let's go places. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental United States and Alaska.
Built for business. Comcast Business is offering 25 megabits per second internet from $69.95 a month. That means if you're still using slow DSL from the phone company, you have a decision to make. Do you switch to Comcast Business and get more speed for faster downloads, or stick with slow DSL and watch your business stutter from slow speeds? Do you get internet that stays fast when other people are online, or keep using slow DSL and have your employees struggle with lag time? The choice is yours. Switch to Comcast Business and get 25 megabits per second of fast, reliable internet from just $69.95 a month, or stick with slow DSL and get slower speeds and more downtime at work. Make the smarter choice. Ditch slow DSL and switch today. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 12/31/15. Restrictions apply. 2-year contract and subscription to Comcast Business Voice and Business TV required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Get the news when you want it from KVAL.com. Log on now for the latest news, straight from the KVAL newsroom. Get streaming video, news stories, weather forecasts, and sports highlights, plus the latest weather and driving conditions from across Oregon. Or share your photos and videos on UNews. No other website gives you more. First, fair, accurate information when you want it from KVAL.com.
Honey, I'll be home for the game.
I'm going to finish my homework before the game starts.
Oh, man. Could you believe that game last night?
Should we order a pizza for the game?
Hey, can't talk now. The game's starting.
Kids, let's go. The game's about to come on.
All right, everyone, I'm home. Put the game on. When wheels on, game time is family time.
Big money, spin the wheel. Let's go. Woo!
Mom, the game hasn't even started.
Just warming up, honey.
Wheel of Fortune, America's game.
Weeknights at 7:30 on KVAL.
Ambassador Fireplaces wants to help a needy family stay warm this winter by donating a pellet stove or insert with installation and a ton of pellets. Go to ambassadorfireplaces.com to nominate a family in Lane County today. See more details at ambassadorfireplaces.com.
The Albany Gun and Knife Show is this weekend at the Lynn County Fairgrounds. This show has it all for the hunter, collector, and outdoorsman. Produced by Wes Nodell, it's a firearms browsing paradise. See you this Saturday and Sunday at the Lynn County Fairgrounds. Just $6 at the door.
What does better mean to you? Better is coffee with a view. Better is a berry from the vine. Better is the journey. At Providence, we know there are many paths to better health. No matter how you define it, Providence Medicare Advantage plans can help you achieve your better. With Providence, you get a no-cost gym membership with all of our plans and access to thousands of providers in and out of Providence facilities. Talk to us about which plan is best for you. Call 1-866-948-5147. That's 1-866-948-5147. We're here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Providence Medicare Advantage plans. Better you, better world. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits may change on January 1st of each year. The provider network may change at any time. You will receive notice when necessary.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
We got an all-encompassing morning show. Might even add to the family today. We got Julie from Lucky Paws in here with. We're going with Libby.
Yeah, Libby.
Let's go with Libby the Lab.
Libby the Lab.
Libby the Black Lab.
And she is awesome. I love this dog. She
lights up a room.
She is a classic, goofy black lab.
And she's
I
not
love,
too big either. She's a good size.
And I love goofy black labs.
She's 2 years old?
She's 2 years old. And the shelter said they couldn't adopt her out because she was too hyper. So if you want to...
Wait, what shelter said that?
She came from Bakersfield. You know,
did you take that call?
They get so many dogs that they have a reason for moving them on.
Oh, my God.
She's just a big, goofy...
She's essentially a puppy.
Yeah,
she's got a lot of energy.
2 years old.
Give her a walk, and she's going to be,
Labs don't
different.
calm down till they're like 4 anyway, so she's just a normal lab.
And that makes her perfect. It does. If you like labs... I automatically, we had a black lab when I was a kid, and it's just like, oh, I know this. If you have a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old, this right here is going to be the best friend, the perfect companion, and
Actually trying to jump into the lap of Julie.
The biggest lap dog ever.
She wants to be a lap dog.
Aw.
Look at that. I mean,
I am just
for people that say that dogs don't smile.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that face.
She smiles. She's so happy to be out of the shelter, I'm sure. She's been, well, when they're sitting in a cage and people come up, they're excited. They want to jump. And
there's a country song there.
You know, people
stuck in a shelter in Bakersfield.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's a good girl. She I haven't gotten to know her too much because she just came in. So last night we worked on not jumping. That might take a little while.
How'd that go for you?
How'd the no jumping thing? Yeah.
Mostly I have to just put my hands on the side of her face and pet her and kind of urge her to stay down. So, because she just wants to be up loving everybody.
So maybe, I mean, what reservations would you put on her?
The only thing I saw is she came in and tried to be a little bossy with the other dogs, and they kind of looked at her and went, "No, you don't." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So,
which dogs do.
That's common when they're coming from, they're coming in nervous and they don't know what's going on. So, just a big, silly, goofy. She's what a lab is.
She's going to knock a 5-year-old.
She's going to knock kids down.
Yeah. Small kids are going to get knocked over. Like I said, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids are going to love it.
Yeah,
they're just going to be. They're going to be wrestling.
She'll be on them, licking them. It's that kind of dog. So, just super happy to have attention.
Was our friend Mark responsible for bringing her?
Actually, not this time. Oh. He's been busy helping out another group. I guess this group called Start. Their vehicle broke down, and so
wasn't starting.
Yeah, it wasn't starting. So Mark's been using his and helping them transport a lot of dogs the last couple weeks. So,
okay.
You just
all right. So
move from person to person like the speed
is
of
Libby?
light.
Is she on?
I'm not
website?
sure if she's on the website yet, and her name, if she is not Libby on there. And I don't remember what the shelter called her, but I didn't like it. So.
Sade or Spade or something like that.
Some weird name. They use a random name generator.
You need a bath.
She needs a bath. She needs a bath, a spa day.
A spa day.
We'll get her all cleaned up. But she was just too happy and funny. I had to bring her.
She's a kick.
She's going to be available for adoption this weekend. She actually has an appointment to get spayed on Friday. So, going to go to the doctor Friday. And then she is available.
Where was she? Will she be out at Petco?
We'll see how she does. We'll be at PetSmart on Sunday, because now every Saturday we have our vaccine clinic. So, and that went really well for us last week as well. So, 671, we actually are doing the clinic at Cascade Animal Hospital. It starts at 1 o'clock. It's supposed to be over by 3.
Wait. 671.
671, sorry, West Centennial Boulevard. We're right next door, 657. Okay. So look for Cascade Animal Clinic or Lucky Paws, but that's Saturday is our vaccine clinic. So come on in, low-cost vaccines, low-cost flea stuff.
No appointment.
No appointment necessary. You just show up 1 o'clock till, I'd say 2:30. If you come at 3, we're wrapping up. So, yeah. But microchips and rabies, all the proceeds go to Lucky Paws and go to our cat Abby.
Really?
Who gets her surgery. Yeah. So we had a great turnout last Saturday, and we hope to have another one this week. And if we can do the same, we'll have made enough to have Abby's surgery done. So
how cool is that?
Yeah. Of course, then we're working on the next one. We just got puppies in, and one of them has a broken leg. So you can never get ahead in rescue, but that's what it's all about.
That's right.
So, but yeah,
not a sprint.
Come and meet Libby the Lab. She's the typical jumpy, fun,
goofy black lab.
And I'd say if she gets out and runs and goes on some hikes and gets to meet lots of people, she's going to be happy.
She totally, like I said, if you have a kid that's 10, 11, 12 years old, even 8 or 9, this is like the perfect kid dog.
Perfect kid dog. And
Yeah.
she wants, she comes flying over.
Okay, she is so happy. You can't help but laugh at the way she just bounds around. It is.
Were you guys talking about me? Were you guys talking about
Adorable. She is absolutely adorable. Oh, hi. Welcome back.
Okay, how about contact information, website, all that kind of stuff?
Website, luckypawssite.org, but best to go on Facebook. We keep that updated better. So facebook.com/luckypawssite. And you can call us if you want. That's a message phone, though, so it might take a day to get around to people, but it's 541-214-5313. Email luckypawsrescue@luckypawssite.org.
I believe that they're
Or just
calling,
Google us and you'll find us.
Are they calling this dog Echo?
Oh, that was her name. Yes, I told you it was a bad name.
Yeah, that's a horrible name. None
She's
of us
not an
like
Echo.
it.
We're changing it to Libby.
Yeah, it's Libby. We don't like Echo.
No.
Echo is not a good name.
So if you have any questions about Libby or fostering or helping out, donations, anything of that nature.
Our little puppy with the
jump on
broken
it.
leg is in a foster home, but it's going to be long-term.
Aw.
And I'm not sure that they were expecting that, so we might need one for that puppy. We'll see.
Is there a picture of the puppy on there?
I'm not sure if there is yet. We only just found out yesterday, I believe, that they did x-rays and it's a really bad break.
Ooh.
So, and we actually are talking to the shelter because these puppies came from, they were owner surrender. And the vet says it looks like it was kicked or broken on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they said that type of break is so severe it doesn't happen on its own.
Hey, all right. So spread the word that
This is why we don't like people.
Yeah, people suck.
Yeah, I know.
Go see Libby, and might be available this weekend.
Yeah.
Julie, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. Go get a Forever Home. 840.
It's your money. And this is your Wake Up Call Market Report on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are little changed as the Federal Reserve begins its two-day monetary policy meeting, and data renewed concerns about the strength of the global economy. A report today showed orders for business equipment unexpectedly declined in September as global markets gave American companies little reason to expand, plus Ford and UPS falling on their earnings reports. Marvell Technology plunging in trading. The chipmaker said PricewaterhouseCoopers resigned as its external accounting firm. The accounting firm questioned whether senior management set a tone for effective control. BP's quarterly profit beat analyst estimates as the company laid out a plan for deeper cost cuts to withstand low prices. One reason for the beat, BP was one of the first oil companies to start cutting costs following the Gulf spill, which was long before the downturn. And Walmart has asked the FAA for a waiver to test drones for delivering orders. The company also wants to use drones to help track merchandise. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
Tired of long wait times and high prices at your local boat repair shop? The Boat Dock LLC Marine Repair in Springfield has the fastest turnover. With state-of-the-art test equipment and on-site test tank, the jobs are done right the first time. From simple tune-ups and water pumps to complete repowers on all types of marine power boats, the Boat Dock LLC is the shop to visit at 1252 30th Street in Springfield. A Better Business Bureau accredited business. Visit their website at eugeneboatrepair.com. That's eugeneboatrepair.com. Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, co-host of Real Estate Today. Kurt Large and Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company if I need to understand a roofing system, how to maintain the roof, should it be replaced, and if it is to be replaced, what should be done. He is absolutely the expert's expert. Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company.
To find out more about Evergreen Roofing, just go to their website, evergreenroofing.com.
Summer never ends at the River House Hotel in Bend. Now is the perfect time to escape and enjoy sunshine and outdoor adventure. You'll be delighted with a stay at the River House Hotel located on the banks of the Deschutes River. Spacious guest rooms, a full-service restaurant and bar, and easy access to all the adventure Central Oregon has to offer. Conveniently located to downtown Bend and the Old Mill District, the River House puts everything at your fingertips. Enjoy our indoor and outdoor pool pools and spas. Tee it up at River's Edge Golf Course. Stroll along our scenic river trail or walk to over 30 boutiques and specialty shops nearby. At night, cozy up to a spa or fireplace and order room service. Or indulge in one of the most memorable meals you'll ever have at Crossings, our award-winning restaurant. It's a perfect time to get away and take advantage of Summer Never Ends special value rates. For reservations and special offers, visit us online at riverhouse.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Harple with Realty One Group. You've heard our ads with Glenn Beck and Lars Larson for years, and like they said, I have been the top real estate agent in Lane County for more than 5 years. But honestly, who cares? What I care about is helping you get your home sold for the most money possible within your time frame. My team and I help more home sellers sell than any other agent, and most at full price or more. How? Massive marketing. When you're number one, you can do things the others can't. I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. And if you're not happy, fire me. Mind you, I think you'll be happy because our bulletproof listing offers flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, cancel anytime. You're in control. We sell homes for top dollar regardless of the time of year, and we put the money in your pocket. For a free information package, call 541-286-3030. Call Harple Real Estate countywide 541-286-3030 or harplehomes.com. Thank you.
Is your home way too hot this summer? This is Josh Lowe with Dr. Energy Saver, and we fix uncomfortable homes. You need better insulation to keep you comfortable all year round. We are the only company in town to provide one-stop shopping for all your energy needs. Insulation, windows, doors, high-efficiency heating and cooling. Call Josh Lowe's Dr. Energy Saver today for your free home energy estimate. Call 541-248-1173. That's 541-248-1173 or online at OregonEnergySaver.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Thanks for being with us this morning. All right, we're in the last moments of this morning's Wake Up Call. Joining us, I guess you could call him a frequent flyer on the Wake Up Call. Aaron Taylor with Crossfire Ministries joining us in the studio this morning. Hey, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Good to be here when it's not fireworks season.
Good to be here when it's not. Okay, we have to turn his microphone on because for whatever reason.
Good to be here.
People come in and turn the microphones off because, that's what you do in a radio station.
Right.
Anyway, so it's good to be here when it's not fireworks season.
When it's not fireworks season.
Third time around on that.
And now we're doing the thing that we do fireworks for, which is be able to reach out and help people and do the even today. It's kind of a different forum for us, but we're talking about some religious freedoms this afternoon. We're going to have business leaders and pastors, school administrators coming in talking about the new challenges that are happening within our communities and within our nation, dealing with who you can hire, how you can fire, what you have a right to do, not to do. There's a lot of real interesting things happening in the business community as well as the church world. And so we're talking about some of the basic freedoms that we're having to deal with. So
it's called, this afternoon it's called what? Protect your ministry, protect your business?
Protect your ministry and business. And then really that's for business leaders. It's a luncheon. And then tonight is open for everyone in the evening at 7 there at the Springfield campus.
All right, and that's called what? Freedom Under Attack?
Freedom Under Attack. It's really the same thing. It's gonna be a real town hall setting. There'll be some speakers that'll speak real short, and then we're gonna do a lot of question and answers. Town hall, get people involved in asking questions. We'll have some attorneys there asking what we can and can't do in this climate that seems to kind of be anti-God, to be honest with you.
Okay, so when you say things we can't do in this climate, give us an example, Aaron.
Well, a good one, and I think I probably would defer to these guys. Recently even in the debates, they talked about how that there's certain rights being eroded when a cake maker can't make a cake for whoever they choose. They have to make a cake for someone they may disagree with. And so the question really comes back to, do you have a right or not to make certain decisions?
And we're talking about, and specifically you're referencing Sweet Cakes by Melissa.
She was actually going to be with us this morning and had some changes late last night, wasn't able to make it, but and that
alone is a pretty tough. When you get fined $135,000 for doing what you religiously and morally and ethically feel is right, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, that's the truth. Whether you agree with it or not, you should have some freedom still, even in business. What happened to refuse the right? We have the right to refuse service. And there's some of that should still be, especially when it comes back to what we would consider moral issues. What happens is it puts us in a position we have to oppose someone for no reason. I don't want to oppose someone.
All right, so we always do this when you come in. We always play devil's advocate because that's just part of the relationship that we have. All right, what about in a case where you have a group like the Nation of Islam where their leadership is absolutely violently anti-white, refers to us as us being Caucasian as Burman, and you have a Nation of Islam business that says, I'm not going to make a wedding cake for you, cracker, you're white.
I think that, I'll be honest, this is probably not going to fly across the board. My personal opinion is they have a right to do that. Come on.
So
I don't think they should have to make a cake for me as a Christian if they don't want to. Now, to be honest with you, I'd make them a cake.
Yeah.
I'd make them a cake and I'd put some scriptures in the middle and maybe, a disc with my, message on it about love and Jesus. On the flip
side, though, if you have, and there are some other kind of, they're offshoots of the Pentecostals that feel the same way, only they're anti-African American. What about a church like that says, I'm not going to make you a cake, you're black?
I think that's unfortunate. But
you think it's unfortunate?
I think it's unfortunate, and I would never do that.
Well, you never would do that, but, there are going to be people that say, look, if you make it okay to discriminate against any segment, you've made it okay to discriminate against all. Well, and again, we're playing devil's advocate here.
I know we are. And here's what we come back to. We're not talking to the professionals here that are better at this
we want to get Randy into this.
Randy needs to answer this more than me, but I will say this. I believe, of course, I do believe that this comes down to a moral and ethical issue. But even beyond that, at what point in America do we not still have freedoms of choice, and be able to raise our children not by the state? And yes, with freedom, you're going to get people who abuse it. We're going to get people who aren't loving and kind. And in history, the church has had moments where it wasn't loving and kind as an organization. But I'll still return that there's always been a remnant church and always been a people who've listened to what Jesus said. They've loved, they've cared, and they've done things. They may hold the truth, but they love people regardless, like Jesus did.
Let's get Randy into the conversation. Randy joins us from, he's the National Field Director of the Family Research Council on the Wake Up Call from Washington, D.C. Thanks for making the trip out here. Let's hear you get in on this a little bit. Because I could tell you were chomping at the bit.
We've wandered long away from our foundations as a nation. I think we need to get back to who we are as a people. Our identity is so important to us because it causes us to make decisions based on who we are. We were founded as a self-governing nation. We founded America to get away from the monarchy that was ruling over the people in England. We're tired. We wanted to get away from the dictators, the tyrants, the monarchy, and live free. And that's what we're fighting today. Now we're in situations where in our businesses we're being told what we can do, what we can't do, what we can sell, what we can't sell. And I think the people are starting to rise up against that, and that's why there's this big brouhaha, if there is, with the Kleins. They just want to do their business. They had a business plan. They were following the plan, and somebody came in and said, you got to do what I want you to do for me, and with no concern about their business. And then they get fined because they say, well, I don't believe that. We're seeing that happen across the country, and I work with pastors. I think of in Houston, Texas, where the pastors were subpoenaed by the mayor of Houston, Anise Parker, and they said, wait a minute, Now you're reaching, the government's reaching into our private affairs, into the church even, and they're fighting back on that. And we're seeing this happen across the country with photographers, other bakers, T-shirt makers, and all. This freedom of religion, freedom of speech is under attack in a great way. That's what we want to talk about today at the lunch meeting and the evening meeting, is what do we do about this? Who are we as a people, and how do we stand and care for others in the midst of all our rights?
It's interesting to me because we get back to we're legislating morality. It's just not, it's a humanistic morality, but we're trying to say, let's let people make decisions. Let's give the power back to the people. Let's not legislate morality. And yet, that's really what we're seeing on the other side of things, is we're saying, you have to believe this, you have to accept this, this is the way you have to do it. You know, in history, there's been times where the church and religion, whatever sect was out there, was trying to legislate and make people do things. That isn't the way it should be. But it should be a community not forced upon by the government, but freedom, the ability to vote, the ability to govern. And what's happening is we're listening less and less and less to the people, and the government is getting more and more power. And I just think it goes back to business and eventually into your church and your social groups and your community groups, and now we're being told what we have to do and have to believe. That's, I guess, my problem.
Denny, you want to get in on this? Denny
Absolutely. As the kind of the state representative, the ambassador for Family Research Council, and a pastor in a small community in Grants Pass, I have witnessed, I've seen how the public has responded to what is a perception that indeed the government is imposing upon the freedoms that, I mean, my goodness, people have died for to preserve. It's interesting to me that freedom is something that's valuable to each and every one of us, but all of us have a different definition of what that freedom means. We're simply wanting to equip people that are being challenged by the attacks on freedom, on the things that they can literally do, whether it's the changing of bylaws, policy statements, employer-employee relationships. That's why Tyler Smith's presence, the attorney who's representing Aaron and Melissa Klein, will be at both of our luncheon and our public meeting tonight, because lawyers are concerned. How about the two judges, one in Marion County and one in Washington County, that are being reviewed by a judicial commission, a fitness commission, simply because they said after the Supreme Court ruling, we simply refuse to perform weddings, regardless of whether it's a heterosexual wedding or a homosexual wedding. And now Basic Rights Oregon has asked, and the government has complied, to put them under a judicial review. I mean, these freedoms are being eroded every day.
And I honestly, pastors that I know, we're scared to do weddings, because if you don't, you know, they're making us come to a place, not yet, but the handwriting's on the wall that we have to marry people we don't agree with maybe what they're doing, whether they're, you know, whatever that issue is. The truth is we should have some freedom.
Okay, so again, quickly, where and when? Aaron?
Today we have a lunch, and okay, real quick, we have a lunch at Crossfire at Crossfire Springfield campus for business leaders and church leaders, and then tonight, and I think we have another 40 or 50 seats, and then tonight, 7 o'clock, open to the entire public, a kind of a town hall session. There'll be some speakers, then open forum.
All right. Aaron, Denny, Randy, thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. We're up against the clock, 8:57, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings ends soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. Save right now with 0% financing on 13 new dependable Toyota models, like the techno-rich Corolla, adventurous RAV4, and best-selling Camry. Then save for 2 years with Toyota Care no-cost scheduled service and roadside assistance. And keep saving down the road with Toyota Toyota's leading gas mileage and legendary resale value. With 0% financing on 13 new Toyota models, where will you go?
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
With 0% financing and 2 years of no-cost service, the savings don't end soon. At your Northwest Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. APR financing through Toyota Financial Services with approved credit. Must take retail delivery from dealer stock by 11/2/15. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental U.S. and Alaska.
U.S. Bank provides custom solutions to help you grow your business. We take care of the heavy lifting so you can concentrate on what's important. Whether you've just started in a friend's apartment.
All set. Now, if I could just use your printer.
Printer? What printer?
But...
Or opened your first office.
We have a printer.
There goes the printer.
Or if you've recently expanded your office.
Check out all the people in line for this printer.
Or maybe you've opened a new location.
We have so many printers.
Or transitioned your business to new ownership.
I never want to see another printer again.
You'll have a business banker there to guide you every step of the way. Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/business.
I've got a great idea for my next business.
Cool. Print it out and let me see it.
I'm just gonna email it.
Credit products are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. Some restrictions and fees may apply. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank National Association, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Brian Sutherland, owner of Amco in Springfield. Is your check engine light on? Is your car or truck not performing like it used to? Has your gas mileage dropped lately? We'll perform our exclusive Amco TransScan at no charge to you. That's a $50 value. And right now, our Power Purge transmission flush is only $99. That includes most cars and light trucks. Maintenance has never been more important, so trust your complete car care needs to Amco in Springfield. For hometown service, remember, AA MCO.
Understanding your finances is a key to a strong financial future. Don't be the one who gets left behind. Visit feedthepig.org for tools and tips to get started on the path to financial stability. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, U.S.
News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The U.S. Defense Chief telling Congress changes are coming in the fight against ISIS. Fox News Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
Fox News has confirmed that the president is considering moving U.S. troops closer to the front lines in Iraq and Syria. Meanwhile, in testimony before the Senate Armed Services Committee, Defense Secretary Ash Carter said there will be an increasing involvement of U.S. forces on the ground in Iraq.
From the skies above, we expect to intensify our air campaign, including with additional U.S. and coalition aircraft, to target ISIL with a higher and heavier rate of strikes.
Carter said he's not in favor of a no-fly zone in war-torn Syria. Lisa?
Well, John, Secretary Carter also just confirming something that's angered China. A U.S. destroyer's passage near an island made by China in the South China Sea, where the U.S. objects to Beijing trying to claim more territory. A 2-year budget deal aimed at avoiding showdowns on spending limits and the debt limit until after the next president takes office could get a House vote tomorrow, just a day before the vote for House Speaker. Another poll puts Donald Trump in second place among Republicans running for president, and this one's national.
A new CBS New York Times poll puts Ben Carson ahead of Trump with a 4-point edge, 26 to 22%. Support for Carson has quadrupled since August, and the rest of the GOP candidates are in single digits.
Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers, this after several recent polls giving Carson the lead in Iowa. Amid rising homicide rates in some big cities, President Obama heading to Chicago to address a police chiefs conference. But first,
give it up for the world champion, the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team.
The president moments ago praising the first Women's World Cup champs in 16 years in the East Room and saying their victory had inspired the whole nation. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Do you have a retirement account? Is it likely to go up 60% or down 60%? Wake up. Low interest rates support the market, and it won't last forever. It's time to hedge with solid gold. You will regret not doing so in the next market crash. Do it right. Don't pay a setup and storage fee. Discover how. Call Goldworth. Request the IRA guide free. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy, it's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
Chris Johnson may be 6 seasons removed from 2009 when he was the NFL's leading rusher and offensive player of the year. But last night, the Cardinals running back rushed for 122 yards and a touchdown in the Cardinals' 26-18 win over the Ravens. His quarterback, Carson Palmer.
He's still got it, I'll tell you that. That defense notices it. Every defense that we line up knows when he's in the backfield and when he's not. Just a great player. I was talking to him today. For a while, he was one of the most dominant players in the NFL. And he can still dominate a game like he did today.
Arizona improved to 5-2 with the win. Baltimore plummets to 1-6 with the loss. Baseball news: veteran outfielder Torrey Hunter calling it a career after 19 seasons spent with the Angels, Twins, and Tigers. He was a 9-time Gold Glove winner and a 5-time All-Star. Game 1 of the World Series tonight in Kansas City. Mets at the Royals, 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
This is Brian Sutherland, owner of Amco in Springfield. Is your check engine light on? Is your car or truck not performing like it used to? Has your gas mileage dropped lately? We'll perform our exclusive Amco TransScan at no charge to you. That's a $50 value. And right now, our Power Purge transmission flush is only $99. That includes most cars and light trucks. Maintenance has never been more important, so trust your complete car care needs to Amco in Springfield. For hometown service, remember, AA MCO.
Building or remodeling? Get qualified and reliable contractors, suppliers, and subcontractors through the Home Builders Association of Lane County. Visit hbalanecounty.org or call the Home Builders Association and get help from the experts.
Alcohol and drug addiction affects 10 to 15% of today's population, and the consequences can be devastating. At Serenity Lane, we recognize the need for professional, confidential treatment and offer both inpatient and outpatient programs. At Serenity Lane, you'll receive compassionate care and, best of all, a massive dose of hope. So don't wait for a crisis. Contact us at serenitylane.org.
This message is brought to you in association with EARS.
Kendall Auto Group presents the Kendall License Plate Days. They want to give you $50 and match that by donating $50 to local education foundations at the same time. All you have to do is tune in weekdays to KPNW or visit our Facebook page to find out where we'll be in the Eugene area looking for vehicles with Kendall license plate frames. If you're one of the lucky ones spotted, you'll be the winner of a $50 Visa card. Don't have a Kendall license plate frame? No problem. Stop by any Kendall dealership and they'll gladly switch yours out. The Kendall License Plate Days, where it pays to drive Kendall. Kendall, let's start something great.
News, information, 24/7 on News Radio 1120 KPNW. It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Friends, the excitement is palpable today. So much going on. So much earth-shattering breaking news happening right before our very eyes and ears. And it's a huge day in the literary world because yet another Rush Limbaugh, Rush Revere book is on the store shelves and in most cases right up there at the front. Great to have you with us. 3 hours of broadcast excellence straight ahead. The telephone number if you want to be on the program is 800-282-2882, and the email address lrushmo@eibnet.com. The drive-by media and even some in the conservative media are so excited they can barely stand it because of the latest polling data, both nationally and in Iowa. And depending on which networks you watch, you Trumpsters out there better prepare yourselves, because today it's over. Trump has peaked, and your best days are behind you. You better face the fact. That's what you're going to be dealing with in the drive-by media all day today, through the Republican debate tomorrow, and whenever the next set of polls come out. Not only is Trump behind Ben Carson in Iowa by 14 points in one poll, it's a Monmouth College poll, Carson now leads Trump in the latest New York Times CBS poll nationally. Ben Carson is edged ahead of Trump nationally and is way ahead in Iowa. The Hawkeye come up on February 1st. That's 97 days from now. And the drive-bys think it's over. They think they've made it happen. There's so much down negative talking about Trump. They're patting themselves on the back throughout the media. And there has been a lot of anti-Trump rhetoric out there. And there have been a lot of people spending a lot of money. We'll get into this in great detail as the program unfolds before your very eyes and ears. And by the way, Jeb Bush, speaking of the campaign, Jeb Bush has called Marco Rubio the GOP's Obama. Did you see that? And the word is that Jeb is going to come out flaming in the debate tomorrow night. The problem with Jeb Bush calling Obama, or calling Rubio the Republican Party's Obama, is coming from Jeb. You don't know whether it's a compliment or a hit. The Republican budget deal, I told you about this yesterday. 2-year budget deal all the way through 2017, taking the budget and new spending, expanding a debt limit off the table throughout the presidential campaign and through the next president's first year. A Boehner-Obama deal. They're all happy about it. On the Republican side, supposedly Paul Ryan does not like it a bit, but he didn't say what he would do about it. So that's basically the table. In addition to the United Nations made it official yesterday. Had it in the stack, didn't get to it, that meat, processed meat, beef, pork, bacon definitely causes cancer. Somebody needs to be sued out of business. These people are having and it's the United Nations. It's the global warming crowd, folks. It's the global warming crowd, and they get away with making these scientific statements, which are nothing but politics, which target industries, and it causes, in many cases, irreparable harm, and they get away with it because it's all politics, freedom of speech. They need to be sued out of existence. But anyway, all of that and more coming up. But today, my friends, a big day personally. Very thrilled we are to announce Book 4 of the Adventures of Rush Revere series, available in the stores today. Pre-orders went up about a month ago. This is the 4th book. Please indulge me for a moment as I recap how this entire series came to be. Some years ago, my great friend and the esteemed thriller author, Vince Flynn, kept telling me that I needed to write a book, another book, that basically was a compilation of some of the best monologues in the history of this program. I said, Vince, we're talking about an encyclopedia then. We're not talking about a book. We're talking about a 20-volume set. I don't know that I have that in me, but he kept talking, and he kept pushing, and he kept demanding. I loved the idea, and I loved Vince's passion, but I just never acted on it. For some reason, I don't know whether it was instinct or what have you, but I just never pulled the trigger in my own mind to do it. But during one of these sessions where Vince was leaning on me to do a book, I mean, he wanted it timed for an election, thought it could be a turning point kind of book during an election. My wife, Catherine, said, you know what you need to do? You need to connect with younger generations. Younger generations are not listening to the radio, and they're not watching TV much anymore. And she said they're not being taught the American history that you and I have been taught. Why don't you do some children's books? Why don't you write a children's book? Tell the story of the American founding. These stories are being lost. She pointed out that the public education system and beyond, I mean, even you get into college, junior college, major universities, the whole concept of the American founding has been changed And now it's one that basically teaches America is guilty and immoral. And I thought, now that excited me. Something I'd never even thought of doing, writing children's books, aged 8 to 11, 10 to 12, somewhere in that range. But it resonated with me because it's so important. Because I love the country. I wish everybody did. And the truth of the founding of this country is one of the most miraculous events in human history. And people deserve to know what it is, and they deserve to be proud of their country, and they deserve to understand why. So after a lot of long conversations and tireless hours, the Adventures of Rush Revere series was born with the mission to revive the American spirit and tell the amazing stories of our founding in a unique, unabashedly patriotic, and accurate way. And our goal from the beginning was for young readers to experience history, not just have it shoved at them, but actually take them to it, make them a part of it. Instead of just memorizing names and facts for a test, we wanted young readers to really understand how one event led to the next and how the country that we know and love today was born, what it took for it to happen, the obstacles that people had to overcome, the adversity that people faced, the genuine sacrifice that the founders and the early citizens of this country engaged in to make it real, to make it happen, so that we all benefit from the great country that we know and love today. And our hope was that for parents and grandparents, it would be seen as an opportunity to share the reading experience with their grandkids and kids, to make it a family event, to share the stories of American history, the assumption that the parents and grandparents would know what's in the books, be able to explain it in even greater detail, share their personal experiences as they were growing up with their kids and grandkids, and make it an entirely family-based learning exercise that happened to be fun and invigorating, because these stories and our history is genuinely unique and extraordinarily American. So we created Rush Revere. Rush Revere is a substitute teacher at a middle school, and he dresses up like an old colonial citizen. He has a time-traveling horse named Liberty. And Revere and Liberty take the reader back in time to witness events like Paul Revere's ride, the Boston Tea Party. They're there. We take the readers right there. They meet the people. They are at these events as they happen. The students talk and get to know exceptional patriots like George Washington. They learn through conversation what George Washington was thinking as he prepared to battle the British. And we've had so much support, so much praise for this series, and we are extremely grateful for all of it. I can't tell you how gratifying it is to read, literally thousands of letters and photos that people have sent us. Children, parents, teachers telling us how much they're enjoying American history. Parents, you've heard them call here talking about their kids didn't even like reading, much less anything, much less history, till they got hold of these books and they started enjoying the act of reading, and they wanted to read more, and they're sending us pictures as they open the books on Christmas morning, or as they get them and read them, or as they dress up as characters in the book. And the emails and the response we're getting are just overwhelming. We share a lot of that at a website we've set up, rushrevere.com, where all of this can be seen and where you can participate. Send in your own comments and videos and photos and what have you. Now, today, the fourth book in the series is on the shelves. Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner. Let me ask you a question. Tonight, the World Series starts. The Gotham Mets invade Kansas City for the first game of the World Series. And tonight, the World Series will feature the nationally televised performance of the national anthem. Most baseball games don't. They run commercials during the national anthem. During the World Series and the Super Bowl special events, the anthem is part of the telecast. You ever ask yourself, you and I, we know the story of the Star-Spangled Banner. We pretty much know what the lyrics mean, but what about young people today? about young people 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 even? By the way, we've even had adults tell us they're learning things in these books that they were not taught. That's something we didn't expect, but it's a bonus. Everybody knows the words, everybody can sing along, but I wonder how many young people today, given the state of American history, I wonder how many people know the story behind the Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem. I wonder how many young people know what the words mean, why they were written, when, what was the inspiration, why is it our national anthem, how did it all happen? Well, that's one of the things tackled and explained in this book. The readers are taken right back to the very moment it happened. They meet and talk about it with Francis Scott Key, who is the author. We've dedicated this book to Kit Carson. He, former irreplaceable chief of staff and trusted right hand, lost his battle to cancer earlier this year after we all thought he had it beat and was in remission. And it was a very sobering event, as many of you regular listeners know. The book is dedicated to Kit and other irreplaceable friends and family who have also faced terrible illnesses over these past years. Because in every one of them that we know, and I'm sure it's the same case with you, people have battled heroically with smiles and good cheer while they are in the throes of this disease. It's always amazed me. It's always amazed me the human spirit and how it dominates, even the ravages of terminal diseases. And you get inspired being around people like this. It's nervous sometimes to go to the hospital. It's unsettling, don't know how to act. But in our case, Kit took care of all that by dominating every time we visited and did what he had to do to take the attention off of himself and just have a general conversation. So the hospital just happened to be where he was that day. And it was truly inspiring and sad at the same time. The sadness just multiplied the inspiration that we all felt. And Kit is just one of many in similar circumstances all over this country who themselves are the definition of courage. God bless all of you in that circumstance, situation, and all the best to us from all of you. That's why we've dedicated the fourth book to Kit Carson. Now, in Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner, I remember Liberty, the talking horse, was struck by a bolt of lightning when he was just a young colt, and for some reason magic happened. He's able to time travel back anywhere in American history. Revere is his buddy, and they're able to travel back wherever Revere thinks it would be useful. It's a great vehicle. Talking horse, time traveling. We can take these students back anywhere in history, and they can take their iPhones, and they can take video, and they can bring all their experiences back and share them with the other students in their class. Those that are permitted to know that all this happens. It's a big secret that the horse talks. It's a big secret that they time travel. It's a big part of the whole experience in making sure the time travel does not affect what actually happened in American history. It's really a challenging and fun way to present all of this. Now, I don't want to give away all that's in this book, but in Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner, Tommy, one of the students who time travels, his grandfather, a veteran, is facing an illness. And in order to lift Tommy's spirits and have him understand firsthand what his grandfather fought for, Rush Revere and Liberty arrange a special field trip. This is not a time travel. This is something new. This is a field trip in real time, current time, to Washington, D.C. to see the most prominent buildings in our history, National Archives included. They go to a Nationals baseball game, national anthem, of course, part of the book. They time travel back to watch the drafting of the Constitution. They meet and talk with James Madison, the father of the Constitution. They learn the meaning behind the words of the Star-Spangled Banner while the battle it was written is taking place. And that's as much as I'm going to say, but we are so thrilled and jazzed about it. It's the fourth book in the last 2 years because the demand is increasing. Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner. And I couldn't let this all go by again without telling all of you just how grateful we are to you for making this book, this series of books, the profound success that it has been. And it just makes all of this, for us, more rewarding than we even thought it would be. So that's it. It's on sale today. Fourth book, Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner. Look for it wherever books are sold. We got to take a brief time out because I'm up against it on time. We'll be right back after this.
For your convenience, broadcasting almost 100% in English with just a little Spanish lingo. Rush on the EIB network.
The very last thing you want to think about when you wake up is the IRS. Now, if you owe taxes or if you have unfiled returns, you're accruing penalties that can reach up to 50%. Take Joe, for example. Joe had 4 years of unfiled, unpaid tax returns. He was unable to pay the IRS what they claimed he owed. Joe called the quick reaction team at Tax Defense Partners. He worked with their team of professionals. They went after his penalties, and since he met the requirements for reasonable cause, they negotiated with the IRS, and they saved Joe almost $40,000 in penalties. Now, they have a special offer right now at Tax Defense Partners. If you hire them to resolve all of your tax problems, they will go after your penalties at no cost. El Fribo. Tax Defense Partners, the only firm I recommend. Call them now, 800-730-7777, and get the IRS off your mind. Tax Defense Partners, 800-730-7777.
This is Michael David from Seattle. I'm 51 years old, and 6 months ago, I started taking Andro 400 to increase my testosterone. Since then, I've lost 35 pounds of fat, and my waist went from size 38 to size 32. I have more energy, and I look and feel 20 years younger, and now my wife tells me I have to take Andro 400.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400 and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Andro 400, the natural way to increase testosterone, lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great. Try Andro 400, the safe, effective, affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
October at Three Rivers Casino Resort. All the leaves are brown and the cash is green. Simply swipe your Players Club card for a chance at $100,000 and daily prizes of up to $500 in free play. Or instantly win a 50-inch Vizio Smart TV. Swipe, play, win. Because things are luckier here. And that's not all. Music fans, get out your sequin gloves because October 30th through November 1st, Three Rivers Casino Resort proudly presents Moonwalker, the reflection of Michael, the internationally acclaimed tribute to the King of Pop. With meticulous authenticity, this show brings back the magic of all his greatest hits, the dazzling costumes, the live music, the legend of Michael Jackson returns in the concert event of the year, and all ages are welcome. This fall, we have it all at Three Rivers Casino Resort. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details.
Sherman Brothers Trucking is looking for drivers, company drivers and owner-operators, flatbed, tanker, lowboy, curtain van, and dump truck. Great benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and paid vacation. Sherman Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1969 and runs regionally with good home times. Sherman Brothers prides themselves on the quality of their drivers and the service the company provides. Excellent training and quality management will help you reach your goals. Check out ShermanTrucking.com for more details or call 800-457-1459.
My name is Dr. Nathalie Johnson, and Coleman, Oregon and Southwest Washington is a personal cause for me. I am a breast cancer surgeon at Legacy and a breast cancer survivor. 71 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer every week in our region. Through Coleman, your gift delivers important breast health education, provides mammograms, offers emotional and financial support, and supports cutting-edge research in Oregon. Make a difference today. Get involved and donate at ColemanOregon.org.
Sponsored by Coleman, Oregon, and aired by the Oregon Association of Broadcasters.
With the Wake Up Call tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9, and Rush Limbaugh Now. We're 1120 KPNW.
That's right, Snurdly. Remind me, I forgot to show you the book. So here it is on the Ditto Cam. This is what the cover of the book looks like. If you've not gone to pre-order it at Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, or iBooks, there's the cover of the book. Right? One of the best covers. And I need to remind everybody, the first book, Rush Revere and the Brave Pilgrims, that book is still in print. It's still being purchased. And we won Author of the Year for that book, the Children's Choice Book Award for Author of the Year, and the 3 books which have followed are even better. We can't win the award twice a year. I mean, it's amazing we won it even at all, given how the literary community is populated. But they were great that night. And Rush Revere and the Brave Pilgrims just continues to flow off the shelves, and it's the starting point. This is Rush Revere and the Star Spangled Banner, of course. And let's see, looking here at about a minute and a half left, and I've got the. Let's do an audio soundbite just to flavor you, give you an excitement here of the media. A flavor of how jazzed and jubilant they are over the latest polls showing Ben Carson jumping ahead of the Trumpster, both in Iowa and in the New York Times poll nationwide.
Carson tops Trump as the new GOP frontrunner.
New polls this morning show Donald Trump falling behind. For months, Donald Trump seemed unstoppable. But this morning, more proof his campaign is struggling.
Donald Trump falling to second place now in a new national poll.
Breaking news. Ben Carson surging ahead of Donald Trump for the first time, not just in Iowa, in a national poll.
This new poll out half an hour ago is big news.
This is huge. Carson opening up a double-digit lead on Donald Trump.
Dr. Ben Carson is leading Donald Trump for the first time in a brand new national poll. What's happening to the Donald?
Trump has fallen out of the lead.
Yeah, and they're so excited about because they think they made it happen. They think they all did it with their constant negative coverage of Trump. They're all kind of hanging the hat on their own heads as having the power and influence to do it. And they're chalking it up. They think maybe Trump went overboard with his comments on Ben Carson's religion, but that's a bit sketchy, I think. Anyway, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
From the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. A 23-year-old man was stabbed outside the Fred Meyer store in Division in Eugene and his cell phone taken. The victim suffered only minor wounds. Police arrested 19-year-old Daniel Thomas Hill a short time later at a Sherry's restaurant. Based on the victim's description, Hill was arrested on robbery and assault charges. Charlie Hales will be a one-term mayor of Portland. He says he won't run for re-election because he wants to focus on his job.
I'm looking forward to spending the next 14 months doing what I'm paid to do, which is lead this city, and to be able to look my constituents in the face and say, I'm giving this job everything I've got.
Hales says that planning for Portland's population growth and working to reduce gang violence are key priorities and would suffer if he tries to run a campaign. Well, there are more poor people in Oregon now than there were in the Great Recession. The Oregon Center for Public Policy analyst Tyler McGinnis says newly released census figures show that more than 21% of Oregon's children are classified as poor. Bill Lennon, KPNW.
Supersize your sleep for only $1. Right now at Mattress Mania. Hurry in today to upgrade your queen to a king size for only $1.
Save like crazy.
Mattress Mania, now in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis.
Get your Plenty card at Exxon or Mobil and start earning points at lots of places.
So I get points for filling up at Exxon?
You sure do.
What about getting coffee at Mobil?
Points.
Streaming TV shows on Hulu?
Definitely.
Points on my AT&T wireless bill?
Yep.
Buying soap?
At Rite Aid.
Buying you a birthday present?
Points at Macy's.
Visiting your parents?
No. You get marriage points.
Oh.
Exxon and Mobil are the only fuel brands that are part of Plenty, the rewards program that lets you earn points at one place and use them at another. Join Plenty for free through a participating Exxon or Mobil station today. Terms and limitations apply. See plenty.com/partners for details.
Geico applauds your inner journey seeker.
Geico gives a hearty pat on the back to the part of you that just wants to get out and ride your motorcycle, to take to the open road, and let the wind and bugs fly your way. In fact, bring on the bugs. They can't stop your quest for highway enlightenment. Geico insures not only your car, but also that fine-looking bike of yours, with a custom-tailored policy and the best rates for you. So next time you suit up for adventure, make sure to take Geico along for the ride.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
People are going crazy for FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues. Listen up.
FanDuel, easily by far, is the best fantasy website on the planet.
With FanDuel, you have a new chance to win every week.
FanDuel's paying out $75 million a week this football season.
Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com, click the microphone, and enter the promo code 6161. That's FanDuel.com, promo code 6161.
I'm terrible with money. Apparently, a PhD in physics won't help me predict the trajectory of my own retirement. So I work with TIAA-CREF. You get quality, personalized advice no matter what your balance is. For me, they make investing as easy as Newtonian physics.
Advice for everyone. One more way TIAA-CREF is created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF Individual Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an act of portrayal. Advice is subject to institutional plan rules. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
This is an exciting announcement from Eugene Airport. Today is the day your life gets easier. Getting from point A to point B has never been more efficient. You can now fly nonstop from Eugene Airport to San Jose. That's right. There's now a new nonstop way to San Jose on Alaska Airlines. We're connecting the Silicon Valley to the Silicon Shire. Book your next flight today at alaskaair.com. Fly easy. Fly EUG.
100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there are as few as 3,200. The Earth's wild animals can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Rush Limbaugh and breaking news when it happens. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Rush Limbaugh.
The saga continues.
That's right, a man, a legend, a way of life. Learn it, love it, live it. Great to have you with us. Rush Limbaugh behind the golden EIB microphone. Just a review of the headlines on the polling data. And by the way, let me throw in, I imagine that many of you in the audience are Ben Carson supporters, and you're probably ecstatic and very happy. And I don't blame you, but if you think the establishment's going to be happy, just because... And by the way, the establishment is going to tell themselves that Trump is finished now. I mean, they'll publicly say the opposite. But privately, among themselves, they're going to think that it's over now. They've been waiting for this moment since the day Trump announced. They've been waiting for any day that they can go beyond speculating when Trump is going to implode or peak or level off. Now we've got polling data in 3 different locations that shows Carson up in Iowa and up a little bit nationally. That's the New York Times CBS poll. And they have been anticipating this like most people anticipate Christmas morning. They just have been waiting. And they're gonna think privately that this is it and mission accomplished, and they're going to be turning their attention to Carson. They're not going to ignore Trump. But now they've convinced themselves that it can happen, that Trump is fallible, that Trump can be damaged. They're going to give themselves a lot of credit for it, and their own media partners. And I'm talking about conservative and liberal media. And there's a lot of conservative media opposed to Trump as well. And everybody is going to be patting themselves on the back and putting feathers in their caps. And the establishment is going to be looking at Carson, and I just want to prepare you Carson supporters for something I know to be true. Well, I don't know it to be true, but I mean I know it. The establishment types who want Jeb Bush, and if they don't get Jeb, then they want, I guess it's Rubio they want, but they want their establishment candidate. They are going to tell themselves that it's going to be 10 times easier taking Ben Carson out than Donald Trump. They are going to believe that Carson's support, while it may be somewhat strong, and while it may have some depth, is highly localized. Iowa, where Carson has been. They're going to tell themselves that Carson's support is coming primarily from the religious right and the moral majority. Organizations that no longer exist, but the establishment hated them so much that in their own minds they're still out there. The old Southern pro-lifers. Ben's a Seventh-day Adventist, and so they're going to tell themselves that it's the fundamentalist Christian wing that's putting Carson on the top. They have made a mistake in assessing Trump's strength. Trump's strength has not predominantly come from conservatives. There are quite a few conservatives who have been supporting Trump, but Trump's support comes from a much broader base of the electorate. Moderates, independents, disaffected Democrats. And that's why early on some people were comparing the Trump coalition to the Reagan coalition, because Reagan also had what were called the Reagan Democrats, and they were largely blue-collar, disaffected Democrats who were fed up with Jimmy Carter and the entire economic situation brought about by Carter and his Democrat policies. And the genuine and angry opposition to Trump has been taken out by the establishment on the conservative wing, by their own base. The establishment has believed it's their base responsible for Trump. And they're, again, clearly a significant number of conservatives supporting Trump, but that's not the majority of his base's support. It'd be hard to identify a true majority as supports that broad base. Carson's is more focused and is indeed more genuinely tied to what would be called the Republican base, the conservative base, that is tied to the I don't want to name it because it's name calling, but the religious and moral aspect or part of the party that's supporting Carson. And the point is that the establishment is going to think that getting rid of Carson is going to be easy compared to Trump. They look at Carson and they see somebody very low-key, not very excitable, not very passionate. They see his support as being highly localized. So they're looking at this poll today, or these series of polls, as literally great news. They see it as the end of Trump, or at least Trump's peak. Now, they don't see any of their own people rising. This is the one thing that they're missing. They don't see Bush gaining any ground despite all of his money. They don't see any of the other establishment candidates. I'll tell you, like I said yesterday, the guy lurking just beyond visibility, who is raising tons of money from a broad-based group of people, is Ted Cruz. I don't know if I would attach dark horse status or label to Cruz, but Cruz is positioned extraordinarily well for whatever transpires between now and November 1st, which again is like 97 days. 97 days, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Trump could regain the momentum. Who knows? He can continue to lose momentum, if in fact he is. Carson could, at any point, go a different direction. But the key to this is the establishment is going to think that they are making all of this happen. This is true of both establishments, Democrat and Republican. They do not think that you or anybody else in the public really makes up your own mind about anything. You're all the product of influence. You're either being influenced by me, you're either being influenced by Fox News, you're being influenced by, but you're never, ever thinking on your own. And since they believe that, they're going to believe that it was their outside influence and whatever they have been able to arrange in the media anti-Trump that has brought this about. They're not going to conclude, for example, that people on their own have tired of Trump. Now, they may say that in public because they'll want you to think that they have a lot of regard for you in this decision. When you make a decision or do something such as vote or respond to a poll in a way they want you, they will praise your intelligence to the end of the world. But secretly, they don't think you have any. Secretly, they don't think, and they don't, the proof of that is they don't trust you to elect the right people, to support the right causes. They don't trust the public on any of these things, which is why the moneyed people are the ones who are listened to. So the reason I'm making all of these various and disparate points is the establishment's going to shoot themselves in the foot over this. They're going to misanalyze it. They're going to get it wrong. Their media acolytes are going to be patting themselves on the back and once again missing why whatever is happening is happening. And that means their reaction to it is not going to be the best and the brightest. And they might, and I'm starting to see signs of this in the media, just that first soundbite I played for, they're already celebrating. We're not even in the third inning yet, and they're celebrating like the game's over. And that's always a death knell. So the thing for everybody to realize is that all of this is fluid, and none of it is predictable. And there probably isn't anybody who can tell you why any of this is happening right now. But the establishment and their media types are going to tell you they know exactly why all of this is happening. And, of course, every reason they give you is going to be a reason that will allow them to say, as we suggested 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, yesterday, last week, whatever. They're going to position it so that they are the brains, the Svengalis, the experts, and it's all happening as they knew it would when they haven't the slightest idea what's going to happen tomorrow. But they will take every occasion they can to try to influence the outcome of these events, and then when they get the outcome they want, run out, claim credit. Here's some of the headlines. Fox News Iowa poll, Carson leads Trump by 14. Fox News is very happy about this. Ben Carson's taken a commanding double-digit lead in Iowa, according to the Monmouth University poll released yesterday. Shows Carson 32% among Hawkeye goers. Trump is at 18%. That's a huge, I mean, that's way beyond margin of error. 32 to 18. You want to hear the explanation for this? The explanation for this from the drive-bys, well, you know, Hawkeye goers, Republican caucus attendees, really, really religious, really, really rigid conservative. They don't like big talkers and flamboyant people that draw attention to themselves. They like steady Eddie. Really? If that's the case, how come Trump was leading for so long among Republican Iowa caucus goers? No, there's more going on than just the mass supposition of what Republican caucus attendees want and don't want. Now, to put this in perspective, again, it's the Monmouth University survey released yesterday. Carson 32, Trump at 18. And that's a 14-point lead. That's Carson's biggest lead to date, obviously. Now, put this in perspective. According to the latest CBS News poll, Trump and Carson are tied in Iowa. Trump is way ahead in New Hampshire, 38 to 12. And in South Carolina, Trump is even further ahead at 40 to 23. Yet in a New York Times poll, Trump and Carson are even, you know, Carson's a little bit ahead nationally, but in these early states, Trump is off the charts in the lead, New Hampshire, and in South Carolina, and the other states that are going to make up the SEC primary back when we get into March. In the Monmouth University poll, Carson leads Trump by 9 points among self-described very conservative voters and 21 points ahead of Trump among self-described somewhat conservative voters. So when you combine those two categories, you have Carson leading Trump by 30 points among those who call themselves conservative, either somewhat or very. So we're told in the Monmouth poll that these voters in Iowa see Dr. Carson vastly more conservative than Donald Trump. Neither of them are as conservative as Ted Cruz. And remember that is an important point to remember throughout this entire primary process, which is still in its early stages. The race in Iowa remains fluid. Just 19% of potential caucus goers saying that they're actually completely decided on who they've supported. Only 19% are firm in who they support. So it's all very fluid. And on a side note, Mike Tyson just endorsed Trump. Trump just landed another heavyweight endorsement in a Monday interview with the Huffington Puffington Post. The self-proclaimed baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson, endorsed Trump, saying that he should be the president of the United States. A guy that came from where he came from, his dad was only able to loan him $1 million. Doing what he's doing in that field, construction and real estate, and now this is where he's at now. You know what that means? That doesn't mean he's a bad guy, that people don't know what they're doing. That means people are tired of what you're doing, and Trump is the guy. Mike Tyson, the latest Trumpster endorsement, will be back and continue after that.
Slam on the brakes on the mainstream media spin. Rush on the EIB network.
Hey, you have a fantasy team. How's it doing? You know, FanDuel is the leader in 1 week fantasy football. The money is real. Building a team is easy. You just pick your players, stay under the salary cap, and sit back on Sunday and watch your team win. Entry fees start at just $1. Now, last week, Tyson from Orlando won $6,000 off a $2 entry fee in his first week on FanDuel. Join him and over 1 million other users who have already won money. Go to FanDuel.com, click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner, use my promo code RUSH, and sign up now. And here's a special offer for new users. For every $1 you deposit, FanDuel will match it with up to $200 that gets earned as you play. This offer is only good for the first 50 people that use my promo code RUSH today. So hurry. FanDuel.com, offer code RUSH, where every day is a brand new season.
Can a protein originally found in a jellyfish improve your memory? Our scientists say yes. Researchers have discovered a protein that actually supports healthier brain function. It's the breakthrough in a supplement called Prevagen. As we age, we lose proteins that support our brain. Prevagen supports these proteins and has been clinically shown to improve memory. It's safe and effective. For support of healthier brain function, a sharper mind, and clearer thinking, try Prevagen for yourself today. Available at drugstores everywhere.
Do you have a family member who is getting older and can no longer be safely left alone? Get to know Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care. With over 500 offices, Visiting Angels assist adults nationwide to continue living in-home and avoid moving into a nursing home. Experienced, compassionate caregivers provide assistance in hygiene, meals, and light housework. Services provided up to 24 hours a day at affordable rates. For senior home care you can trust, check out visitingangels.com. Franchise opportunities available. visitingangels.com.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your fishing headquarters with brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and a variety of locally made products tailor-made for this region. Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable.
Plus, they offer layaway on firearms and fishing gear.
Pick up your hunting and fishing license while you're there. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life. When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you or your families, asking you to put yourself in harm's way to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently at no cost for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Rush Limbaugh now. Lars Larson today at noon. Only on 1120 KPNW.
From National Review Online, the headline, Paul Ryan pledges no immigration reform under Obama. Can I translate that for you? No immigration reform, no amnesty until 2017. What, you think it's being too cynical? Paul Ryan has signed off on a letter promising restless members of the House Freedom Caucus, i.e. the conservative Tea Party members, that he will not bring immigration reform legislation to the House floor while Barack Obama is president. This assumes Obama leaves office at the end of 2016. Well, in January of 2017. The letter is obtained exclusively by National Review. It formalizes pledges that Ryan made last week in a closed-door meeting with select members of the House Freedom Caucus who were skeptical of his promise to maintain an open and inclusive relationship with them. Specifically, it extracts Ryan's word that he will not bring up amnesty, i.e. comprehensive immigration reform, so long as Obama is president. And as Speaker, Ryan said he will not allow any immigration bill to reach the floor for a vote unless a majority of Republican members support it. So the gauntlet's been thrown down to the donors. The donors are going to spread the money around to some of the House members if Ryan means this. If they're not going to do amnesty unless a majority of Republican members support it, well, hey, we'll wait and see on that. USA Today, Republican power rankings. Ben Carson is the new king, is the headline. Ben Carson's overtaken Donald Trump for the first time in USA Today's GOP power rankings, deemed the strongest candidate in the Republican field this week by their panel of political experts. But you know the drive-by media and their experts. Their experts routinely stumped every week when unemployment numbers are announced. Experts stumped every week when the world does not get warmer. So keep that in mind about USA Today's experts. Carson's rise in the USA Today rankings reflects recent Iowa polls showing him passing Trump in the critical first-in-the-nation Hawkeye caucus. You know, just imagine what the USA Today panel of political experts will say when they hear about the New York Times CBS News poll. These experts convened and did their power rankings before the CBS New York Times poll came out and put Carson ahead just by a little nationwide. These experts, by the way, these are USA Today insiders as opposed to the insiders at Politico, as opposed to the insiders at ABC, as opposed to the insiders at CBS. I mean, all these establishments have their insiders. And at USA Today, they're ranking Carson at number one. And I just, look, I guarantee you, within the bowels of the establishment, they're all plotting. Carson, you kidding me? That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to last. The news to them is that Trump has peaked. If it's true, well, think about that. Just a second.
Unfiltered and unstoppable Rush on the EIB Network.
Michael Reagan says only one GOP candidate has Ronald Reagan's conservatism. That's Jeb Bush. As Florida governor, he ferociously cut taxes, cut budgets, and was pro-gun and pro-life. But Jeb still hasn't connected with the GOP. Find out why in our one-on-one with Jeb Bush exclusively on Newsmax TV tonight at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern. See Newsmax TV on DirecTV 349, Dish 223, Fios 115, or get the free Newsmax TV app from your smartphone store.
Are you single and ready to fall in love? I'm Barbie Adler, founder of Selective Search, North America's leading offline matchmaking firm. If you're tired of wasting time and money meeting the wrong caliber of people, call Selective Search at 866-592-1200 or visit selectivesearch.com. You have high standards and operate strategically in all other areas of your life, so don't leave the most important aspect of your life to chance. Allow Selective Search to introduce you to the love of your life. Call 866-592-1200.
Most car commercials say, hurry, the savings end soon. But the savings at your Northwest Toyota dealer are just the beginning. You'll get lower payments, all the latest features, plus 2 years of Toyota Care no-cost service. Savings don't end soon. At your Northwest Toyota dealer.
Visit your Northwest Toyota dealer today for great deals on a huge selection of Toyota models.
Toyota. Let's go places. Covers normal factory scheduled service for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. See Toyota dealer for details and exclusions. Valid only in the continental United States and Alaska.
Your partner in healthcare makes it easy. We take care of your medical equipment needs. Call on us to see you through. We're here for you. Gateway Medical Equipment. We're on your side from the start. Gateway Medical Equipment. The company with heart.
Choices are important. It's your right to choose your provider for oxygen equipment. If you're a new patient on oxygen, you need to know that your choice of supplier impacts the type of equipment you receive. Gateway Medical Equipment provides state-of-the-art equipment so that you have the greatest independence and mobility with your oxygen. When you require oxygen, choose Gateway Medical Equipment, where true caring really helps.
Gateway Medical Equipment, the company with heart.
Gunrunner Arms in Junction City, your hunting season headquarters. Whether you're looking for a new rifle, hard to find ammo, or scopes, see Gunrunners. With any scope purchase, Gunrunners will mount the scope and tune it with laser bore sighting absolutely free. And now Gunrunners has reloadable gift cards with new and used guns, ammo, holsters, cases, reloading equipment and supplies, Liberty Safe, survival gear, and more. Gunrunner Arms with new fall hours, 9:30 to 7 Monday through Friday and 11 to 4:30 on Sunday. Gunrunner Arms on highways 99 and 36 in Junction City, vet-owned and Second Amendment proud.
50,000 watts and worldwide. Get all of your favorite News Radio 1120 KPNW shows streaming live at kpnw.com.
Yeah, Fox News had the story here that Carson's support is largely conservative and largely Christian. And I'm going to add, it's probably many of the 4 million people that did not vote for Romney. But I'm also going to tell you who won the last two Hawkeye caucus. And some other things when we get back. So sit tight, buckle up, and stay with us.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are mostly lower. The Dow Jones Industrials are down 47 points to 17,575. The Nasdaq is down 14. The S&P 500 is down 9 points. Shares of United Parcel Service are down more than 3%. The delivery company's third quarter profit topped forecast, but revenue fell short. UPS is predicting demand for services this holiday season will be up at least 10% from a year ago. The engine maker Cummins is preparing for layoffs. The company expects to eliminate as many as 2,000 jobs. A computer repair and tech support company says problems with Windows 10 accounted for more than half of its support calls in the third quarter. 56% of the help calls to Rescue Com were from users having trouble with the Microsoft operating system. And Turner Classic Movies is launching a wine club in partnership with two other companies, Direct Wines and Wines That Rock. Jeff Bellinger, Bloomberg Radio.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The Capitol Hill grilling for the U.S. Defense Chief on the fight against ISIS, days after the mission's first U.S. casualty in Iraq. And now the strategy may be expanding. Fox News Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
A senior U.S. official confirms to Fox News that the president is considering proposals to move U.S. troops closer to the front lines in Iraq and Syria. On Capitol Hill, Defense Secretary Ash Carter said the military plans a higher and heavier rate of strikes against ISIS targets.
If done in concert, as we intend, all these actions on the ground and from the air should help shrink ISIL's territory into a smaller and smaller area.
The proposal to put a limited number of special operations forces in Syria and U.S. advisors closer to the fight in Iraq still needs approval from the president. Lisa?
Meantime, John, late reports that for the first time, Iran is being invited to join international talks on Syria's future. The tax man is spying by cell phone, but only on people suspected of breaking the law. This from the IRS chief at a Senate hearing. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The IRS admits it's using cell phone tracking equipment, which can collect metadata, but only in criminal cases.
The use of that is restricted. It's our criminal investigation division that uses that technique.
IRS Commissioner John Koskinen told the Senate Finance Committee the agency has to get a court order to use tracking technology. And he stressed it's primarily used in cases like money laundering, terrorism, and organized crime. Koskinen agreed to to tell the committee how often the technology is used within 30 days. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. Even though the U.S. and Cuba are on friendly terms again, the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba still stands, and the U.S. has just voted against a UN resolution condemning that embargo. Only Israel siding with the U.S., 191 nations voting for the condemnation. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
Today, my new son and I threw a barbecue.
There were burgers and chicken.
I burnt everything. The burgers, the chicken, the salad.
They were delicious.
They were awful.
And then we had watermelon.
I'm allergic to watermelon.
And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window, Mrs. Wakeham's window, Mrs. Wakeham's windshield. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The weather is changing and days are growing shorter. Now's the time to check your battery, and that means all of them. Smoke alarms, flashlights, phones, and radios. And Battery Exchange will check your batteries for free. Battery Exchange in Eugene, Springfield, Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and more. Battery Exchange.
Hunters and gun enthusiasts, deer season is here and elk season is just around the corner. Stop in and see the guys at SM Gun Shop. And parents, bring in pictures of your kids hunting and get 10% off. SM Gun Shop thanks everyone for participating in the Brzezinski recall. And remember, the elections are coming. SM Gun Shop off River Road in Eugene.
Is your home way too hot this summer? This is Josh Lowe with Dr. Energy Saver, and we fix uncomfortable homes. You need better insulation to keep you comfortable all year round. We are the only company in town to provide one-stop shopping for all your energy needs. Insulation, windows, doors, high-efficiency heating and cooling. Call Josh Lowe's Dr. Energy Saver today for your free home energy estimate. Call 541-248-1173. That's 541-248-1173 or online at OregonEnergySaver.com.
Oregon's Game Megabucks jackpot is over $5 million. Buy yours today.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom. We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty. Something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not. It's not about paranoia.
Or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Most people think the Y is a gym, but to me, it's so much more. When I needed help, the Y gave my kids a scholarship to a safe place where they could grow, learn, and have fun. And when I was struggling with all kinds of health issues, they gave me the guidance and motivation to get well. The Y helps families create a better future and become so much more.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but you grew up and things changed. Well, it's time to put it back on your list. Innovative things are happening in teaching today, and you can be a part of it.
Make more. Teach. Visit teach.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
It's 10:06, and Rush is back. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
quiz. The last two winners of the Hawkeye Republican side. Who won the Hawkeye in 2012? No clue in there. That'd be Rick Santorum. Huckabee, I think it was Santorum. Huckabee won, I think, in 2008. I think Huckabee won the Hawkeye 2008. It might be their way around, but I think that those are the last two winners. I'm actually not sure about the years. Greetings and welcome back, folks. Great to have you, Rush Limbaugh, behind the golden EIB microphone. So ask yourself a question. Okay, what has happened here? What happened? Why did Ben Carson surge to such a commanding lead? And now it's one poll. In another poll, they're tied in Iowa. Don't forget. And it's only Iowa, too. It's not South Carolina, and it's not New Hampshire. In both those states, Trump is just, miles and miles ahead. It's not even close in those two states and others. But Iowa, it's Dr. Carson. Now, one of these USA Today experts, their panel of experts analyzing all this, they put Carson number one in their power rankings, says that this is it. This is the end for the Donald. He says it might mark the end for the Donald. And that view is shared by many of the USA Today experts. And I'm telling you that view is a wish. They're hoping that's what this means. But okay, so Carson's working Iowa. Is that the only reason? All right, what are the other reasons? Why has Carson, and let's deal with the Monmouth poll. That's what everybody's talking about. That's Carson up by 12 or 14, whatever it is. Why? If it's not just Carson working this, which he is, you're right, he's pounding the state. He's got a professional political organization on the ground there. What is it? Who has? Carson's been quiet. Carson's been quiet. Okay, Carson's been quieter, and he's working the state. Well, let me throw something else in. Given who Carson's supporters are, does it matter? Is it a factor? The way Trump has gone after Carson. It's called him lazy. It's a guy that routinely did 20-hour surgeries on the brains of children. Oh, speaking of that, the latest Planned Parenthood video. What a sick bunch of people. What a sick thing to be happening in our country. It is just beyond description. I have lost my ability to express my incredulity and sickness over this. And to think that this is an accepted practice and promoted and is a strength of the Democrat Party is just, it's depressing. The latest video, this is the 11th video from the Center for Medical Progress in the ongoing Planned Parenthood baby parts scandal. Baby parts scandal? This is the United States of America. This is not Nazi Germany. The baby parts scandal? Anyway, this latest video shows the abortion doctor for Planned Parenthood in Austin, Texas, who's named Dr. Amna Dermish. She is describing a partial birth abortion procedure to terminate a living late-term fetus, which she hopes will yield intact fetal heads for brain harvesting. In other words, this particular abortion doctor aims and strives for intact fetal heads. Dr. Dermish, speaking to actors posing as a fetal tissue procurement company, said, "My aim is usually to get the specimens out pretty intact, especially the 20-weekers. They're a lot harder versus the 18-weekers, so at that point I'll switch to breech." In reply to a question about harvesting fetal brain, Dermish said, well, I haven't been able to do that yet, but exclaims with laughter, this will give me something to strive for. So here we have a doctor striving for being able to extract and harvest a full fetal brain to sell it. And it's just standard, normal, everyday operating procedure at Planned Parenthood. Now, Ben Carson has been the most vocal candidate hitting Planned Parenthood. And despite what you know in the drive-by meter, here in the drive-by media, there are Americans sickened to the point of real anger and outrage over this. Carson has been the candidate that has hit Planned Parenthood the hardest. Maybe a close match with Carly Fiorina. She has two. But it's a close contest between the two of them. But if you add all of that up, then you have Trump out criticizing Carson in ways that many people, it's just beyond the pale. Carson has not said anything to you. He just talked about you. You said you only fight back when you're hit. Trump has made snide comments about his religion, and made snide comments about his laid-back personality, his signaling laziness and so forth. And I have to think that where you can say things like that about establishment candidates and others who are well known in the world of politics, and people just instinctively know those kinds of things are said about others. Ben Carson is not of that world. And Ben Carson doesn't run around ripping other people to shreds. He saves lives, in fact, particularly children. So I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe some of the people in Iowa think Trump's overboard on the way he's hitting Dr. Carson. Some people might perceive it to be beyond politics. You're after somebody's religion, Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know. Then you go after the apparent laziness. Not lazy. What was he saying? Anyway, yeah, low energy. That's what it is. Super low energy. And that's when Carson replied that low energy, I have about 20 hours intense concentration pediatric surgery. So, and I think those kind of things resonate with people. Trump is also in some trouble over comments he made about burqa, about burqas. This from thehill.com. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump on Monday said the United States should not tell countries with large Muslim populations to forbid burqas. Trump said the women there want to wear them. This was at an appearance, Town Hall, Atkinson, New Hampshire. Trump said, what the hell are we getting involved in this for? In fact, for them, it's easier. You don't have to put on makeup. Look how beautiful everybody else looks. Wouldn't it be easier for women to wear burqas and we don't have to worry about all that outside stuff? I don't know what's so bad about it, but you're not allowed, in politics today, you're not allowed to talk this way of women. You just can't do it. Anything you say that in any way crosses a line and makes it look like you understand women, or you know what they want, or what may be best for them, you're not permitted to go there. No matter how right you may be, you just can't cross that line. According to the left, I happen to think, how many women do you know who would really rather never have to put on high heels? And would not have to spend all day or however long it takes doing makeup and this kind of, and have not being so slavish to fashion and this kind of stuff. I actually think, I don't know what a majority, but I think Trump, probably a lot of women, yeah, exactly right. This is a controversy in the drive-bys more than it is, I think, actually with women. Grab audio soundbite number 22. Trump getting it from all sides now is Luis Gutierrez, our old buddy from Illinois. Democrat member of Congress was desperately hoping we'd have amnesty by now. He would had already set up procedures for it. Obama let him down, but he's really been paving the way for it, and he's really, really, really upset that Saturday Night Live is going to host Trump. And Luis Gutierrez is leading an effort to get Saturday Night Live to rescind their invitation. He went to the floor of the House of Representatives to rail against Trump appearing on Saturday Night Live.
It starts every Q&A at every high school I visit. The questions are about Donald Trump. Is he going to be our next president? Is it true that he wants to revoke our citizenship, deport us to the countries our parents came from? Is it true he wants to round us up, Mr. Gutierrez, and deport us all? When they hear that Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live, not just being a guest, but actually hosting, even after saying Mexicans are mostly rapists, criminals, and drug dealers, they get the impression that calling whole groups of people rapists, criminals, and drug dealers based on their ethnicity or national origin is basically okay with us in America.
Luis, you're actually trying to tell us that people are running around talking about Trump hosting Saturday Night Live, being worried about it, that if he were just guesting it'd be okay, but he's hosting and that has him really upset. Are we really supposed... Luis, this is your deal. This is typical of what these people do. Everywhere I go, every high school I go, everybody's asking me, Luis, why? Luis, why is Trump saying, why? Nobody's asking Luis about it. They have their own opinions already. Luis is just putting his thoughts in other people's minds, and trying to expand the universe of people that supposedly think the way he does. I think, Luis, you got to be very careful. Your comments here that you just attributed to Trump are what put him at the top of the heap on day one. You're just reminding people why they supported Trump. The outset. Keep talking this way. He wasn't through. We have one more bite again. This on the floor of the House just this morning.
When I ask these young Americans whether they plan to get registered and vote, every hand goes up in the classroom. Donald Trump is spurring youth voter mobilization like I've never seen before. But let's be honest. Do we really want to motivate civic participation through fear of deportation, racial profiling, and families being broken up?
Stop the tape! Hell yes, you do! That's exactly what you want. By all rights, Luis, you should be demanding that Trump not be thrown off Saturday Night Live. If all of these benefits are accruing to the Democrat Party, if all these people tell you can't wait to register, they can't wait to vote, are you telling... Luis, you really care why they want to register? And if they're registering out of fear of deportation or racial profiling or families being broken up, you worry that they're... Don't try to sell us this bill of goods, Luis. You'll take it however you can get it.
American teenagers growing up to distrust their government. Trump wants to take us back to the good old days of race relations, which apparently means the 1950s, when President Eisenhower evicted millions of immigrants and U.S. citizens from the United States.
Okay, Luis. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some shocking immigration news for you here. It's to listen to people like Luis Gutierrez, and you would believe that we deport everybody, that we want to deport everybody, that we're going to deport everybody, and that only guardians of these poor immigrants like Luis Gutierrez can save them. The fact of the matter is, the country is being overrun as we speak.